Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is at the request of Hale on Patreon. And Hale asked me to brew up a Bant Stoneblade build. So I don't know how fair it is to call any Bant deck in the current Legacy a brew, because the Bant shell is extremely well established. Just 19 or 20 lands, Plow, Brainstorm, Ponder, Sylvan Library, Icefang Coatl, Endurance, Uro, Force of Will, Prismatic Ending. Almost all of the cards in this deck are pretty stock in various Bant builds. Between Bant Control or Bant Flash, which is a deck I've been pretty into lately, there's honestly not a whole lot of brewing going on here, but I have plugged in Stoneforge Mystic as a primary plan in the deck, which is very different from a Miracles deck, which is different from a Flash deck, which is different from any other sort of mid-range deck. So Stoneforge Mystic, it's got its own thing going on. It comes at some other significant deck building costs because you actually have to put weapons in for it to search for. I have chosen Umezawa's Jitte, Sword of Fire and Ice, and Batterskull. I've chosen those three specifically because of how well they line up against the Bant Mirror and against Izzet Delver. You may notice a lack of Kaldra Complete. Kaldra Complete is a really cool weapon. It's a cool thing to get with Stoneforge Mystic. I just don't think it lines up with the format as well as these other three things right now. And you don't get to play four. There is a limit to how many equipments you can shove in your deck. So I'm off Kaldra for this one. Other things about this deck, the return of Snapcaster Mage. This card has fallen out of favor largely because of Endurance. When I was done tuning and tweaking with my original build, I moved some stuff around and I had 59 cards. And I really wanted another blue card to support the forces, because when you have 7 deck slots designated to non-blue cards between Stoneforge Mystic and the equipment it can find, your blue card count starts to suffer. So I wanted another blue card, and I wanted another business spell, and Snapcaster's kind of both. So Snapcaster Mage is back in the deck. Out of the sideboard, I was looking around at lists, and I found Damping Sphere. Some Bant decks were playing. Try to get this on the camera for you. All right, so Damping Sphere. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces 1 colorless instead of any other type and amount. Each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player has cast this turn. So your first spell is normal, second one costs an extra 1, third one costs an extra 2. So this is a really smart way to pressure both Storm and Cloudpost without turning off your own equipment with Null Rod. So I haven't seen this card played in Legacy maybe at all, certainly in a very long time, but a Bant deck I found on MTG Goldfish had 2 of these and it made a lot of sense, so I'm trying it too. As far as the removal suite goes, I've opted for Engineered Explosives in the main deck. This card, its stock just keeps going up because of Ragavan primarily. The Izzet Delver decks are like 12 1-drops and a 7-drop right now, and those are their threats. Plus Ragavan having dash means it has haste some of the amount of the time, and sorcery speed removal like Supreme Verdict loses a lot of value. You used to be able to just elbow tap on turn 4, jam Supreme Verdict, and know you were safe for a while against Delver. That's not the case anymore. They can continue the beats immediately. So I've leaned into answers that can happen on the opponent's turn. So Explosives, Coatl, Swords to Plowshares, and Endurance. That's the plan to brick Delver. And then Stoneforge Mystic hopefully can show up and outgrind the control decks. So that's the deck. It is primarily just another Bant deck, like you've seen all over the place lately, but Stoneforge Mystic, let's see if she can still hold up in 2021. On the draw in round number 1, I'm going to keep this hand with Island and Ponder in it. My opponent said in the chat they're a fan of the Eternal Glory podcast, so you know they're smart. This is going to be a tough matchup. Oh, there's the rag. Maybe I should have pointed Force of Will at this. I'm not sure if we're quite at the Force Ragavan stage of business. Like, it being a legendary creature incentivizes different things over just like Delver. Like Delver, I could fight over it. If they have a second one, I was going to have to beat the first one anyway, but throwing a Force at Ragavan, especially when they could have Daze, I don't love it. I'm going to ponder this turn, use the ponder to set up a card that hopefully I don't care if they steal with Ragavan, and then next turn I can plow with Daze Protection. Alright, so I don't want them to have my Brainstorm. I don't want them to have my Sword of Fire and Ice either. And they can cast it. Alright, they can have my Flooded Strand actually. So, Sword, Flooded Strand, Brainstorm, do not shuffle. Alright, so they're going to get that Flooded Strand from me, which they can't do anything with. And then I get to Swords to Plowshares with mana up for Daze and also Force of Will back up if I really need it. It also draws me the sword this turn, which currently isn't great because I have 2 weapons in hand and nothing to wield them. There's a Delver, sure. So I want to plow now because I would like to cast Ponder. So I'm going to do it now. This opens up Force of Negation, but that's not the biggest deal. Alright, Stoneforge Mystic, what's up? Okay, so I'm going to draw Stoneforge Mystic now, and I'm going to put Force of Will on top of my deck, so if they dash a Ragavan, it's not that bad. They just revealed Daze off Delver, so the Daze we were playing around is now confirmed. There's that dashed Ragavan. They get my Force of Will. Played around it. So I am taking 5-point chunks here. Not a big fan of that. And the Daze means I can't Brainstorm then Stoneforge. Every time I play against Daze these days, lol, Daze these days, but anytime I play against Daze recently, I'm just like sick of that card. I'm definitely creeping closer and closer to the ban Daze camp, the firm ban Daze camp. I've always been like I wouldn't mind if it left, but I think that is the secret sauce that is causing trouble in Legacy. It's the reason the Delver Shell is always on the verge of being broken. Alright, here comes Stoneforge Mystic. If this resolves, I'll Brainstorm in response to its trigger. And they can decide if they want to Daze that. Okay, they forced pitching Daze. I am going to fight back on this one. Forced pitching Ponder. This resolves. I'll Brainstorm in response to the trigger. Okay, that all worked. That was lucky. So I'm going to put back probably the Sword of Fire and Ice, because that's what I want to tutor for. Actually, I want Jitte. I want to surprise them with one of the things I can do. Alright, this Force of Will is not helping me here. And I guess I don't need 3 Stoneforge Mystics, but that lets me... Okay, yeah, I'm going to put back Sword of Fire and Ice. I'm going to use the ability to get Umezawa's Jitte, and then pass the turn. Alright, that was nice. Snuck in a little cheeky Brainstorm on that play. Expressive Iteration. Alright, now they're looking for answers to Stoneforge. They play a lot of Lightning Bolts, but let's hope they don't find one right now. Exiling Force of Negation is not what they wanted to do. I promise you that. Drawing a white source would be insane right now. Like, please, deck. Let me cast Stoneforge Mystic. Ooh, that's certainly something. So I can risk... I guess there's not much risk, is there? Like, they didn't do anything last turn. I think just getting Batterskull into play is the way. So I'm a little white screwed here. I would have really liked to cast a second Stoneforge Mystic and then put in the Batterskull. Oh shit. I was just saying I need my white mana. And I think they know that. Wasteland. It's quite a card. Alright, Batterskull's lifelink is going to have to carry the day here. That bricks Ragavan forever. It also outpaces the Delver. And if they have land bolt right here, then I'm dead. But I think they would have bolted Stoneforge Mystic last turn if they had a bolt at all. Murktide Region is a huge problem. I would need a white source immediately to plow that thing, or I would die to it. The pause will be edited out by the time you see this, but my opponent has been thinking for a full 2 minutes right now. I have 21:31 on my clock, they have 19:30. So we've been sitting here in this exact spot with Batterskull in play for a full 2 minutes. I think if they had Murktide Regent, it would be on this stack already, and if they had double bolt to kill me, I would also already be happening. So they must have some sort of complicated decision to make here. Maybe the decision is like they have a land and a lightning bolt. Or no, they played Wasteland this turn, so they're not playing land lightning bolt. They can only have one bolt this turn. Maybe the decision is, like, do you play Ragavan as just a chump blocker to absorb some Batterskull damage, but that doesn't seem great. If you play Ragavan this turn, you can attack with it next turn. I gain 4 life, but then you can bolt and clear the germ, which is also like pretty dangerous in a damage race. I suspect they probably have a lightning bolt and they're figuring out what to do with it. Of course, there's also the possibility that they just went to get a sandwich, or their kid is crying in the other room, or whatever. It's Magic Online. They could be doing anything. But I eagerly await their decision. They came out of the tank a full 5 minutes later. They now have 16 minutes on their clock with Expressive Iteration. For that amount of time to come up with that play, I suspect they actually just weren't at their computer for a while. They hit Volcanic Island off of Iteration, which they've already played Wasteland for the turn, so that's a blank. Looks like Batterskull's going to get rowdy. I would really like to draw a basic Plains this turn. That would be nice. It's not a basic Plains, but it is white mana for Tundra. I'm going to attack with both of my creatures. Actually, Stoneforge Mystic, it does change the clock. It does take a turn off the clock. I'm trying to think of, do they have an answer to the germ? Because if they dash Ragavan, if they have like Vapor Snag dash Ragavan, they could connect. That seems so unlikely. Yeah, Stoneforge is getting in. I guess I also just sort of tunnel visioned on this Swords to Plowshares, and maybe it's correct to just put in Jitte. Alright, so I think they would have gotten rid of a Daze by now if they had one. Force of Negation is still alive though. If I pass the turn and cast Plow, and I'm going to Plow right now. These decks usually don't have Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm kind of stuff in their main deck. Though I did just spend the Plow that I might need for Murktide Regent. That might have been a huge mistake. Notice that as soon as I did it, and now they have an 8/8. Shit. I had Delver covered already. Alright. Luckily I now also have this covered. Except I don't have Death Touch, so no I don't. I can attack for 4, just spew my germ. 4, 5, 6. Can't quite kill the Murktide Regent with that. I could equip Stoneforge Mystic, send it in, and get counters on Jitte, so at least I'm not dead. Oh, that was bad. I could play Icefang Quaddle, hope to draw a land, and then equip the Jitte. I think that's my best play. Yeah, I just wasted that Plow on a creature that was already covered. Come on, land. Shit. So, if I attack with Batterskull, I'm not dead to Lightning Bolt, so I'm gonna do that. Guess I should have attacked with Stoneforge too. They're gonna block the Batterskull. That was a damage I could have had. Yeah, a number of small sub-optimizations this last turn cycle. I definitely, while they were AFK for 5 minutes, I was definitely like on Twitter and checking YouTube comments and stuff and pulled my brain out of the game. At one point I had a plan to save this Plow for a Murktide Regent, and then it was just gone. Alright, so I need a Plow or another Coatl. Something to handle this big creature quickly. Snapcaster Mage. Alright, well, we're dead to Daze, but we're good everywhere else. I think attack and then upkeep this to play around Force of Negation is the correct call. I'm dead to Lightning Bolt either way. Like, I'm just at 3 and there's nothing I can do about that. So played around Force of Negation. They didn't have Daze last turn. Target Swords to Plowshares. Oh, they just said in the chat they needed to go replace their mouse battery. Alright, yep. Had the bolt. Yeah, so I was distracted driving. Wasted my Swords to Plowshares on the creature that really needed to be hit by it, and that was a huge mistake. Okay, Blue Elemental Blast comes in, Hydroblast comes in, Carpet of Flowers comes in, Supreme Verdict. Flusterstorm. I've been really unimpressed with Rest in Peace. This used to be part of my sideboard plan in the early days of the format because they have Dragon's Rage Channeler, which cares about Delirium, and Murktide Regent, which cares about Delve. But this is just such a low impact card. It doesn't affect the board, and they can still just kill you with Ragavan Delver and 1/1 Dragon Rage Channelers. So we'll see how many cards I end up cutting, but I've been unimpressed with that card. So Force of Wills go way down. I think I still like all three of the equipment in the matchup. And one more card's got to go. I guess it's just the last Force of Will. Because they have days all the time. They're going to have Red Blast after board. So Force of Will is just a huge beating. And answering the board, my deck has a ton of life gain in it between Uro, Jitte, and Batterskull. So that's my plan to beat Lightning Bolts. I don't need to counter them in the late game like some of my control decks do. Yeah, this looks pretty good to me. Let's go. On the play with this banger, I'm going to keep it. My opponent is on 6 cards. I think casting Ponder, or I can save Hydroblast for Ragavan, and that lets me curve up. Like if they daze the Hydroblast, I get to jam Stoneforge Mystic. Of course, if they just have Delver, that's not a thing. Alright, they did just have Delver. There's Jitte. So I can try to pop in a Coatl here, or I can just put Stoneforge Mystic on the stack. And I think because I'm already exposed with Tundra, I should just fetch more non-basics and continue digging in. The question is, do I get a tropical island where they can choose to take me off green or white? Do I get Savannah that locks in white either way? Or do I get Tundra that locks in blue either way? I think it's Savannah, because my hand is full of good white cards. So Savannah doesn't Ponder, which I am going to need to hit my other land drop. Alright, they both cast Ponder, so I'll do this. And having 2 of these means I'm not the most scared of daze. Didn't even have it, just shoving. Get Batterskull. So they could have a Braid in post-board games. Alright, nice. Delver didn't flip. I'll take that. Another Delver. How about Engineered Explosives off the top? Hook it up. I want to hit land drops here. Ooh, that's kind of like a land drop. Alright, I'm risking it for the biscuit on this Carpet of Flowers. My Stoneforge Mystic resolves, so I suspect I get to keep this. Then, how do I want to play this? I want to go to second main, get my blue off Carpet of Flowers, and cast Ponder. Because I'm looking for that land drop. Here's Ponder. Alright, found a land and a plow. I like that. So I don't want to shuffle away that plow, but we'll see what happens this turn. Our Delver flipped, revealing Daze. So that's awkward. Okay, they didn't keep the Daze. That's good. Okay, so Coatl's doesn't have Death Touch, and it's not going to for a long time. Oh shit, I should have fetched before they had red mana up. Now I'm gonna lose my Stoneforge Mystic to a Lightning Bolt. I am rusty with the Stoneforge Mystics. Okay, I'm gonna fetch in response. Jeez. That was loose. Alright, so I'm gonna get Savannah to make sure all of my colors are set up forever. That was bad though. I was leaving the opportunity for Swords to Plowshares and left up my fetch land, but if they just have Lightning Bolt and I go to fetch to activate Stoneforge Mystic and they kill it in response, that's just bad news all around. Alright, so now I have my lifelink creature in play, and I can cast and equip Jitte. Yes, and make blue. Or I can put in and equip Jitte. I am not going to cast it. There's that. Put it on the germ. Now we're just eating Delvers. Carpet of Flowers, folks. What a card. All right, and I'm going to remove a Delver right now while I can. Get it gone. I can Hydroblast and a Braid. And if we end up in a counter war over that, that's okay. That's resources they're spending when I have both Jitte and Batterskull they need to answer. Delver crunching in. That's what it's born to do. They could Murktide Region here as a 5/5, which is pretty big, but it does trade with the German combat. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, didn't draw Sword of Fire and Ice, but it's not too late. I'm going to use this ability, make 3 blue, and then oh, okay. I'm going to cast Stoneforge Mystic, activate it, put in Sword of Fire and Ice. Is that the best line? So let's try it. I think that is a pretty insane line. They're going to have to force this. They didn't do it. Alright. Yes, get Sword of Fire and Ice. Fetch for Tundra. Activate the first Stoneforge Mystic. Put in the weapon from the second one. And I have exactly enough mana to put this in and equip it, which results in me gaining 6 life from lifelink. They can't block. I kill Delver for free. Still have 2 counters on Jitte. Yeah! Voltron! That felt pretty good. Those were Stoneforge Mystic things. That felt like it was 2015 again. I don't think anything changes about my sideboard plan post-board. Like play draw, my cards are basically all still the same. Yep, in we go. Yeah, play draw versus Delver. Your cards are all the same when you're on the draw, they're just worse. Like everything is better when you're on the play. Because Daze is such a dick. Well, this one is kind of risky. If they counter this Carpet of Flowers, the game is over. I think I am going to mulligan this. Okay, there we go. I got all of the things I wanted. I think that I'm going to send one of the Coatls. Because Uro is real good. That's something that hasn't come up yet. The Coatls also have not been good at getting Death Touch in this matchup, which does matter a lot, but Uro doesn't challenge Ragavan. Alright, I'm actually going to send the Uro. I talk myself into it. Alright, turn 1 play. I hope it's Delver. Nope, it's Rag. For the game that I was ready for Ragavan, they had Delver. For the other game, they had Rag. So I could jam Carpet. I think that will answer Daze one way or the other. They either counter this thing, or I just don't have to play around Daze anymore. And the fact this resolves gives me hope for this as well. Alright, cool. The plow just went in. Yeah, Carpet is scary enough that I think if they had an answer, they would have played it there. So that cleared the way to do whatever I want. Alright. Missing land drops. You love to see it. Yes, I would like to make blue. And I can put explosives in on 1, or I can ponder, or I can coatl. I think I want to coatl right now while the coast is clear. And then I'm going to ponder. I'm going to play around Daze with the body. Because if I cast this into Pyroblast on their turn, I don't get the card off it. But if I cast it right now, I'm at least guaranteed a card, even if they clear it, which I don't super care about. Alright, Endurance is great. The 3rd land is great. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Murktide Regent could still mess it up. So I need to have Murktide Regent answered at some point. The Endurance will slow it down. So I'm going to have to be monitoring their graveyard at all points. Like, when can they pay 7 mana between Delve and their lands? And it looks like the answer is next turn. I will easily trade with this thing if they offer it. Alright. They didn't offer it. Probably for the best. Okay, so yes, and make green. My top card is Brainstorm. So actually I'm going to make blue. So I can draw this Brainstorm with my Coatl. I actually do want that card in my hand. Alright, looks like they found a Red Blast. They did indeed find a Red Blast. So I don't get to Endurance this turn, which means that I have to use my Ponder to try to find an answer to Murktide Regent. Luckily it's only a 4/4 right now. Ponder's on the stack. Prismatic Ending does not answer Murktide Regent. it does answer Dragon Rage Channeler. So I'm going to put the Brainstorm in my hand, pass the turn, and then see what happens. They only have 2 card types in their graveyard, right? Or no, they have 3. They have instant sorcery land. So if they mill a creature or have Mishra's Bauble, that would get them Delirious. Yeah, Basic Mountain does not cast Murktide Regent. It also doesn't trigger my Carpet, unfortunately. Alright, so Carpet, make white. Prismatic Ending, target this. Pay 1 white. Let's get rid of that. Oof, that was worth a Force of Will. Nice. Okay, sure, that's forced. And then I think it's Endurance time. Or no, I still want to respect Daze. So I could Brainstorm here, but they are representing a reactive hand that could contain Pyroblast. So I'm just not going to do anything right now. If they draw a fetch land and fetch, I can respond with Endurance and bomb their graveyard. If they just go like Island and Murktide Regent, they got me. Or at least Murktide Regent's in play, but I have Brainstorm to find a land to make Coatl. Alright, I'm gonna bomb them in response to this. I am playing into Daze, but I don't really have a choice in the matter right now. Here's Endurance. Don't daze me, bro. Alright, Endurance was in. Clear that graveyard out. No Regent on my watch. Yeah, the old fetch land finally drew it. Passed the turn. Sad. And I fetched Tropical Island because that is just better than a basic island here. Like, having my mana is worth so much more right now than having Death Touch on my Coatl. And then Engineered Explosives for 1. Let's just get that set up. That does unfortunately clear my Carpet, but if I need to pop this, it's going to be worth it. And now we're going to start winning the game. The Blue Blast is a nice consolation prize. Like if they dash Rag right now and try to shove through my Coatl, I have something for it. I think their hand right now is Red Blast and Murktide Regent and 1 mystery card. They just drew this land for the turn because they missed a land drop 2 turns ago, and then they played a land last turn, they played a land this turn. So they drew lands the last 2 turns. They have 3 spells in their hand that have been sitting there for a long time. And what spells would sit there for a long time? And the answers are Murktide Regent. And I guess they could have cleared this Icefang Coatl and tried to pull ahead with Surveil, and like those are all plays that they could have made with a Red Blast, which might mean they don't actually have it. It could just be 2 Murktide Regents. Could be a Ragavan that they just never had a chance to dash in because of my 1/1 creature. And especially with the explosives now, Ragavan's even less interesting. But now I have Swords to Plowshares for the Murktide Regent if they ever get there. Wasteland. Okay, Force of Will. If they're not firing off Wasteland, they could have Force of Will in their hand. That might make some sense. Alright, let's see if they have Force of Will. I'm going to make white and cast the Stoneforge Mystic. Your move. Oh, it resolved. I think in this position I want Sword of Fire and Ice. That's the one that's going to push my advantage and solidify it. And Jitte is also reasonable here. I just don't think I need Batterskill at all in this position. Really found a Brainstorm. Alright, they're about to turn that shitty hand into a playable one. So they didn't have Force. I expect it had to be multiple Murktide Regents, I think, is the hand that makes any sense there. Now they're like aggro spewing Brainstorms to get the Murktide Regent poppin'. They ended up playing a land after all that. So maybe they're just land flooded. Like brainstorming twice and still hitting your land drop after you already have 5 in play. I guess it could have been a matter of not enough blue sources. Alright, so I'm going to plow in the end step. If their last cards in hand are force blue card, then they're empty. Alright, they didn't have that, so it looks like I'm just going to get to go to town with Sword of Fire and Ice. Yes, and make white 4 of it, by the way. So
Put in Sword of Fire and Ice. Equip Sword of Fire and Ice. And I can attack with Coatl. Oh, no, I still can't because they could dash Ragavan. Alright. Nope, still not attacking with Coatl. I refuse to get hit by Ragavan ever. That's my rule. If you watched my Bant Flash League, or Bant Flash Challenge that I played on the channel, there was a game where I just stubbornly refused to get hit by Ragavan for like 6 turns. And then there was one turn where I was like, nah, they probably don't have it. And then I got hit by Ragavan on that turn and lost the game as a result. So I am just super careful about dashing Ragavan. All right, Expressive Iteration. What could they hit that I care about? Probably Murktide Regent. I'm saving my Blue Blast for a Braid. I think it would be reasonable to fire this off here, but at the same time, I just am more worried about a Braid than anything else. Or a Meltdown. I knew I had a plan. Alright, we got the GGs in the chat. Okay, so that was the old 3-0, where I punted game 1 and then won the other 2. So remember to save your Swords to Plowshares for Murktide Regent, because all the other creatures are answerable just by coming up the board. So that was an important lesson learned. Also, remember to have 2 mana up for Stoneforge Mystic when you're playing against Lightning Bolt. GG's, on to the next round. On the play for round number 2, and I have kept this Ponder Stoneforge Mystic hand. I'm in. The Prismatic Ending Brainstorm, land number 4. I'm going to end up shuffling away one of these cards with the Stoneforge. So I'll take the Brainstorm now, draw the Prismatic Ending, and then I can make decisions starting next turn. Whether just jamming Stoneforge, or if I have to remove a Ragavan, or whatever. Let's see what turn 1 brings. Uh-oh, Badlands. Okay, it's Goblins. That's fine. That was scary for a second. Goblins are definitely a deck that Stoneforge Mystic can do stuff against. I think that I should Prismatic Ending the Aether Vial, though. So if I just jam Stoneforge Mystic here, I get to find my Jitte, and then every creature for the rest of the game threatens to end the game immediately. However, this Aether Vial represents Vial and Lackey, cast Munitions Expert, kill Stoneforge Mystic. At the very least, it also represents accumulated mana over the course of the game. So I could brainstorm into... Actually, I think I should brainstorm and see if I can find a basic planes to operate off of. Alright, didn't get there on the basic. I don't need a second Uro. I'm not even convinced I need the first Uro, though Teferi might be worse. Thinking about what I want to do here. So if I get rid of the 2 Uros, or maybe Snapcaster Mage's Source, but Snap Prismatic Ending is going to line up well against their deck eventually. Like at some point that's just going to pay off. Teferi impacts the board and buys time, but I'm trying to buy time to get into Uro, but Stoneforge Mystic also does a good job there. They are a Wasteland deck and a Rishadan Port deck, but if they waste or port me, then they don't develop their board. This is actually really tough between just sending both Uros or sending Uro and Teferi. I think I'm going to send the Uros, and I'm going to shuffle them away and find a Tundra here, with which I will cast Prismatic Ending on their Aether Vial. How about Prismatic Ending, folks? I just have this, Swords of Plowshares in my deck that also hits Chalice of the Void, Aether Vial, Sylvan Library, etc. What a card. So they have Cavern. That's good. That's not Wasteland or Port. I'll take it. Ignoble Hierarch. So I could just snap ending that. Or I could put Stoneforge Mystic into play, but again, Munitions Expert gets me there. I could also Teferi bounce this thing, start generating Teferi advantage. Yeah, I think I like Teferi. I think Snap Ending is also defensible, but I think that we could get a better target for ending eventually. Like the Hierarch, it's a goblin, if you didn't recognize that. And so it counts for all the goblin stuff. Also, like, bouncing that is consistent with the mana denial plan of removing Aether Vial. Well, let's see if they even want to wasteland me here. Do they need this land, or do they want to try to take me off? I hope they do waste me. I just have 5 lands available right now, and they're currently hurting on mana development. Yeah, check it out. They're not even wasting me. They need that land more than I do. So plus Teferi. I can Stoneforge Mystic, or I can snap ending the Hierarch, which is starting to look more appealing. That does also put a creature into play that can carry my Jitte eventually. Alright, snap ending, end the Hierarch. I can do this at instant speed because of Teferi, but there's no reason to. Like, just stop them before they untap with their mana. It's possible that I've just 1-for-1'd my way into a game where they just play Ringleader and I lose. But I think that dancing around the Stoneforge and controlling their mana has made sense with the information I had so far. This Force of Will is really bad. That was a terrible draw. And most Goblin decks can destroy artifacts in the main deck, like with Goblin Trashmaster or whatever. Right, Matron. Expect this will get a Ringleader. And I don't know what's in their hand, but Ringleader would make sense to me, given the way this game is played out. Right, Ignoble Hierarch. Okay, so the Mana Screw plan has worked, taking out the Aether Vial, taking out the Hierarch. They're investing in their future with mana development right now. Brainstorm would be great. Teferi's not the best. Not bad, but also not the best. So I can play this Misty Rainforest and then Stoneforge Mystic. And I'm pretty sure I want to get Sword of Fire and Ice, not even Jitte. So Jitte removes the Hierarch and the Matron. Sword of Fire and Ice keeps stuff moving. I'm going to grab the sword, and I am actually just going to cast it right now. If they have Trash Master, they get to trash me. But I do want this card in play, because I want to use all my mana. Like, if their plan is to like chump with Ignoble Hierarch, because it is a non-red creature in their otherwise mono-red deck, then I can Teferi, bounce it, and connect, and we start pulling ahead. They found their 4th land. If their hand just contains Trash Master, they get to clear my sword. I hope that's not the case. I think if I get even 1 turn of development here, I'm going to be in a good shape. There's the Ignoble Hierarch. We knew about that one. Matron can attack now and deal 2 to Teferi. I could trade it with Snapcaster, but then that leaves me with nothing to... Like, if they have the Munitions Expert, I guess they would just cast it now. Okay, they do in fact have Munitions Expert. This was not cast with Cavern. So I have a chance to force right now. This will kill one of the creatures. Okay. So, yeah. Not going to get many chances to cast Force of Will this game, so I'm going to take the one I can get, and it seems like a good one too. It's funny that Ignoble Hierarch is green, so they had to use their Cavern on this, even though it's probably the less important creature. So they're attacking Teferi. I am going to trade off the Snapcaster for this, because I want Teferi to bounce Ignoble Hierarch, and then I want to connect with my sword. And that's my plan for this game. So I lose Teferi. Oh, I get to Jitte also. Alright, yeah, you're in trouble. So I lose Teferi, but didn't really need it. I'm going to equip here. Oh no, it takes 6 mana to... Alright. In my brain, I was like, oh, 4 mana, I can play and equip Jitte, but I need the 2 mana to get it too. I could have equipped Jitte or Sword of Fire and Ice here, but not both. And might as well attack first. See what's going on. I can just play the other 2 Stoneforge Mystics. If they randomly fire off Wasteland in combat, that would take me off this line, but I can't think of a rational reason to do that. Alright, here we go. Flood the board with Mystics. We're gonna get Jitte and Batterskull. And now we're juiced up here. Vroom vroom. Alright. We could still lose to a Muxus over a multi-turn cycle here. If they just go like land, Muxus, that could send me too far behind. But they have so far not indicated that that's a thing they can do. War Marshal. Okay, so Ignoble Hierarch can chump the one with a sword on. I can get counters on Jitte with one of the other ones. I just have to mix up my threats a little bit. I am going to cast this because activating it doesn't really do anything different. Equip my Jitte. Attack with these two. I can still put in Batterskull with the other one. Ignoble Hierarch has to block the Sword of Fire and Ice because I would just shoot it with the 2 damage anyway, so they just save 3 damage and some life by doing it this way. Alright, so these things trade. Whoops. I ordered my blockers wrong. That was bad. Alright, whatever. I'll make it work. And then I'm just going to pass the turn here. They don't have Skirk Prospector in play or anything. Like, they don't play like Gaia's Cradle. I don't think it matters that they start the turn with 2 goblins in play. I can still kill them at my leisure. Yeah, I ordered those blockers wrong, though. I should have killed the token, made them pay the Echo of the War Marshal if they wanted to keep it. So that was a little mistake there. But yeah, triple Stoneforge shutting it down. Out-controlled the Goblin deck. Alright, Goblins. What do we do here? Containment Priest shuts down Aether Vial and Muxus. Blue Elemental Blast and Hydroblast are a split card Vindicate counterspell. Supreme Verdict is pretty good against creature decks. Back to basics. Goblins, even though it's like quote-unquote mono-red, it plays Wasteland, Port, Cavern, Badlands. So back to basics is pretty good against them. And the rest of these cards are not helpful. I'm pretty sure that game came down to Prismatic Ending. Like, just that card's existence is so messed up. So I'm going to cut some number of the forces because they are risky against the deck with 4 Caverns and Aether Vial. And Teferi is medium. He was pretty good that game because we got to settle into this sort of tempo run, but in general, most goblins have powerful ETB triggers. This is also a 3-mana card. Jace, I have similar concerns about. Uro can still hang out. Uro can still get it. Swords to Plowshare is obviously staying in. Stoneforge obviously staying in. I think this makes sense. Just get rid of some of the beefier blue cards and the slow card that cares about my life total for more interactive things. But I did just board out some beefy blue cards and boarded in another beefy blue card. So take what you will with that. Explosive's great. God, Prismatic Ending. Every time I read this card, I just fall more in love. Every time I exile a new thing with it, I'm like, oh yeah, Aether Vial. Get out of here. Really nice. I think that Prismatic Ending is going to redefine Sylvan Library's place in the control mirror as well. Because that used to just stick and be in play for the whole game in control mirrors because nobody was main decking Disenchants. But Prismatic Ending, now you can just pay 2 mana to get rid of it. I'm going to keep this hand. It doesn't answer an Aether Vial, but it does answer a Lackey. Oh, they're not casting Lackey off that land. Right, Aether Vial's here. Come on, Prismatic Ending off the top. Right, just a ponder. So I'm going to ponder off of basic island off of Flooded Strand because I'm going to want green for this endurance. So I'm going to hold on to the Misty Rainforest. Okay. Ooh, that's good. It's awkward, but it's good. I think I'm going to have to take a turn off of removing Aether Vial because the Swords to Plowshares. Oh no, I have Hydroblast. Never mind. Okay, I was starting to say that I might have to hold up Plow for a turn because if I Prismatic Ending Aether Vial, they Vial and Lackey in response, and I can't cast Plow with Basic Island. But that's just not even the game. That doesn't matter because I have Hydroblast. And because I'm able to answer their Aether Vial, that means they're unlikely to Wasteland me, or it's unlikely to be particularly good. god, what is this black card? Chalice of the Void on 1. I was not ready for that. Okay, now I'm probably going to lose. Like, I just went from easy money to in lots of trouble. Because now I have to Prismatic Ending the Chalice. Oh wait, no I don't. Yes I do. Yeah, look, my hand is Swords of Plowshares, Hydroblast. Yes, I have to get rid of the Chalice. So if I pay 2 for this, I could exile the Aether Vial and try to find another way to play through this Chalice. But I'm already dead to Lackey if I do that. No, this is the play, unfortunately. Alright, fine. If you have Lackey, I'm getting pounded here. And I do have to pay 2 to do that because it would have been a 1-mana spell otherwise. Yup, here we go. Oh, good. That feels good. It feels bad that I'm about to get wastelanded. Like 100% on that. But I do have Hydroblast and Plow to clean up some board states. But that Prismatic Ending, I really needed that to hit Aether Vial. Oh, what's this? Blood Moon? They wouldn't play that. Matron. Okay, so Matron can tutor up something for the Aether Vial. Alright, they got Trash Master. That might be okay. I might be able to bait them into putting it on the stack next turn instead of filing it in 2 turns from now. So I'm going to get my Stoneforge in. I have Hydroblast and Plow that I can cast. Yes, do this, and I would like the Sword of Fire and Ice, I think. No, maybe it's the Jitte. I think it's Jitte. It's actually close, because they're all good. It's Jitte. That one's the most castable if they kill the Stoneforge. And it's the best at controlling a board. The fact that they have a green blocker in their deck now just changes a lot of things. It's Munitions Expert, yep. Alright, so that's going to roast my Stoneforge. Now my best case scenario is that they play their 3rd land and jam Trash Master onto the stack. But they should just wait to tick up Aether Vial. It doesn't make sense to cast it. They should waste me and then just sit behind their Aether Vial and get their beatdowns in. Yep, they figured it out. How about that Chalice of the Void, by the way? Jeez. That was a good one. Right, so I don't think it's time yet for any of my answer cards. Like, Endurance can still hang on this board. I have another ending in the deck plus Snapcaster Mage, so I think I'm going to Brainstorm on my turn. I'm actually just going to remove that from play. I mean, it's in, but I'm going to deal with it. So I want, I think, Swords to Plowshares off of Savannah for this one. Because I'm going to save Hydroblast because it's the same as Swords for a creature that's in play. But Hydroblast could counter Muxus on the stack, which Swords to Plowshares can't do. My green source is actually pretty good here. I just get to put a bigger blocker in than any of their attackers. Coatl, not bad. I could just hold up Coatl plus Hydroblast this turn. I think I need to Brainstorm. Right, there's Prismatic Ending. Good, 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 good. Missed a land. Bad, 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 bad. But figure it out. Put these 2 back. Play this. Prismatic Ending, the Aether Vial. Alright, do they have a 3 they can put in? Or is this Trash Master going to be in their hand forever? Nice. Alright, that's gone. I am kind of hurting here for mana myself, but I have another Stoneforge coming. Okay, that's thousands of years away from being relevant. These beats will eventually add up, but I'm going to Stoneforge for Batterskull right now. Try to stabilize this board and start pushing. I want the shuffle. I don't want to draw Endurance because I can't cast it, even though it is a giant beefcake that would be really good on this board. And I will Hydroblast a Munitions Expert or Pyrokinesis or like anything that would remove this Stoneforge Mystic because I really need this Batterskull in play. Oh, can't counter that one. You got me. I can't take enough goblins off the board either because they have 3 of them. So they got me there. Icefang Coatl's gonna have to carry the torch or the Jete in this particular case. So a green source would be great. Not a green source, but I can green blue still hit a green source. Basic forest maybe? Ooh, not a basic forest, but that is a good card. The vial goes up to 2. I am not gonna block, because if I draw a land and I can go Jete equip swing, the game ends. Look, this attack they're making is really smart because they're incentivizing me to trade. Because if they just attack with a 2/2, I'm like, oh, it's not worth a jump block. But if they attack with 2 1/1s, maybe I think for a second, like, I can get a trade. So that was a really good attack. Earwig Squad. Nah. I'm going to pitch the backup Coatl. No, I'm actually going to pitch the Supreme Verdict because I think Jete is going to function as Supreme Verdict on this board for the most part. On deck, land. Ugh. Okay, so I can play another Coatl. Still leaving up Hydroblast or Plow. Still trying to hit land drops. Alright, found the land. Now I can Hydroblast and Plow. And I can equip Jete next turn. Okay. This game is getting down to the wire. Their Vial is back up to 3, which means they can master some trash next turn. If they have any goblins left. Please jam Trash Master right now. Shove it right on the stack. Oh yes. Got greedy. Though I guess you are losing to Jete if you didn't do that. But get it out of here. Not on my watch. No attacks. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, let's see if this Vial on 3 can disrupt Umezawa's Jete from connecting. I'm getting basic forest off of this because if I draw endurance, I want to be able to beef it into play. Okay, here we go. Jete's on. Moment of truth. Does this Vial on 3 mess this up? I'm not even sure what 3-drop they could have. Like Sharpshooter doesn't have haste right now. I don't even know if Goblin decks still play that card. But alright. I'm gonna clear the Ignoble Hierarch right now, and then I will reserve Judgment with the other counter. So they could have a second Trash Master. They could also Ringleader here and reload their hand. Alright, here it comes. Yep, Ringleader confirmed. How'd we do? Masked Vandal is good. Goblin Warchief and Ignoble Hierarch. You may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment. Alright, so Masked Vandal does kill Jete. That was a good one to find. And they can go Warchief into Vandal and just really pummel this board. Yeah, that was a good Ringleader. There's Warchief. And then here comes Masked Vandal. And I'm going to kill the Munitions Expert. I think that's the creature that I want out of play the most. Though I'm not sure that it matters either. Oh, wait. Oh, right. Ignoble Hierarch can tap for green to tap the Masked Vandal because it has haste. Yep, that also works. Fair enough. Right, Masked Vandal. The Storm is 3. My Jete's gone. I suspect they just attack with Goblin Matron here. So now we've sort of lost the battle over the artifacts here. But oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I will block the Warchief for sure. We've lost the battle over artifacts, but now we pivot onto being an Uro deck. Yeah, Teferi doesn't do anything. Like, I don't actually want to bounce any of their creatures. I want to play Uro. Here we go. Finding a Snowland would be pretty nice here. Alright, I'll take as many plows as they want to give me at this stage of the game. The Wasteland is kind of rough here. They have 1 card left in their hand, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything because it could be Muxus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could just plow Ignoble Hierarch right now. Oh geez, they have another Ringleader. That was their last card. Ouch. Alright, so now Muxus confirmed. And that means I want to exile the Ignoble Hierarch right now to make sure they don't draw a land and cast Muxus. but they can Violet in next turn anyway. All right, now I'm losing this game. The ringleader, the double ringleader, once the dust settled, was plenty to get it done here. And then Chalice of the Void. This entire game came down to them having Chalice to protect their Aether Vial on turn 2. So that was tight. Their sideboard plan paid off, and we're going to go to game 3. Yeah, I pitched my Supreme Verdict a while ago. I'll take the trade I can get. I go to 2. Yeah, so I need to answer both their entire board and the Aether Vial this turn. Seems unlikely. And Basic Island was not the answer. That doesn't get Uro into play. I'm just going to let them flip their Muxus in case I see more goblins that would surprise me, because Masked Vandal was nowhere near my radar. That was a really cool card that they had. So if Muxus wants to show me more goblins, I'm happy to take a look. But they also probably just shouldn't do that. They should just attack with their creatures in play. Alright, they agree with that assessment. Alright, yep, I'm just dead. So Crater Maker, Masked Vandal on top of Trash Master. They have a lot of hate for artifacts. So Chalice of the Void is a banger. That makes me want to Fairy back, knowing that they have things like that in their deck. And Force of Will did come up because they didn't have Cavern, and the fact that I'm bringing it in back to basics means that Force of Will probably be on eventually, plus Force on Aether Vial or Chalice is a good deal. So what am I cutting, given this new information about the amount of hate in their deck? What did I just bring in? A Teferi? Actually, so like, the Teferi is of interest to me, but at the same time, it's like, which of these cards is it better than? And the answer, the only answer I think is Force of Will. And I just explained why I want my Forces. Like, Force did come in clutch that game. It countered an important Munitions Expert early on because they didn't cast it off Cavern, or was that game 1? I forget. But they never had Cavern that game, so Force of Will was on. And yeah, I think this is fine. Same deck, let's go. Right, I have the Prismatic Ending, a Plow. This is a good hand. So I could just Tundra go, challenge them, go ahead, have a Wasteland, I don't even care. Or I could play the Misty and get Savannah, but I'm going to Tundra go. Like, I have 3 lands and 2 cantrips to keep hitting lands. If they want to waste me here, that's fine. But if they go with Lackey instead of Vial on turn 1, I'm going to wish I had white mana up right away to play on curve. Speaking of playing on curve, this Brainstorm is nice. Maybe I'm going to hold on to the Brainstorm, though, and just end this Vial. Get it out. Yeah, my whole hand is good right now. There's no reason to spend a Brainstorm. And then, like, next turn, I can on-curve Coatl plus Plow. Another Vial, okay. Ignoble Hierarch. Basic Island. I think that's good, because that lets me get basic Forest with this. And I can start hedging up for back to basics, which is eventually part of my plan. Ooh, okay. That changes my interest level in killing Ignoble Hierarch, because Engineered Explosives can sweep it up with the Aether Vial next turn, but them getting on 4 mana right away, that's a little worrisome. Like, if they just jam Ringleader this turn, I'm going to regret not sweeping out the Hierarch. But I think I'm going to take the risk. Like, I am representing Hydroblast, which is a card they've seen. So I don't know if they would necessarily just jam Ringleader onto the stack without Cavern to help it. They have a Caracas, that's for Uro. And Sheikmons, okay. That's a good target for Swords to Plowshares. Alright, so I'm going to Plow Pashik. And then I'm going to Engineered Explosives on my turn. Oh, I can't Plow Pashik because they have Caracas. Never mind. That just gets a Plow out of my hand, but it does also remove Pashik from play for a turn, so that's also fine. Like, you can pick it back up, get your card advantage, but I want the board clear. And the cool thing about Aether Engineered Explosives versus Aether Vial is if they Vial in a 1-drop, that also dies. So this lines up really well. Endurance, huh? So I think I want to Do I want to brainstorm or do I just want to commit here? Like brainstorm could turn Tundra into something different, and I can't cast the endurance right now, so yeah, I'll take a brainstorm here. That was a good brainstorm. All right, Tundra is not necessary for this plan, and I also think that, is it Coatl that goes back? Now I actually just want all the cards in my hand. I could just fetch, maybe it is Coatl that goes. I could also just put the 2 fetch lands on top, but I want the basic plains and the basic forest, but I also want to shuffle because I don't want to redraw this stuff. So Tundra goes back, and I guess it is Coatl. Yeah, because endurance is such a beefcake. Then I'm gonna fetch for basic plains right now. That sets up my colors for my back to basics and their wastelands, and then I get to do the explosives thing here, and I'm just gonna pop it right now. Let's just get the Hierarch, the Aether Vial, and whatever they were planning on bringing in off Aether Vial out of the picture. And I also have Death Touch right now. I'm not gonna attack because their deck does have haste creatures. And now we are playing towards Stoneforge Mystic. I can Stoneforge and Endurance this turn, if necessary. Alright, Goblin Crater Maker. Alright, so that deals 2 to a creature. So they can kill Stoneforge Mystic. That's pretty good. Alright, so Stoneforge Mystic. Let's see if they actually want to kill it, or if they want to save it for the weapon. I'm gonna get the... Is it the sword, or is it the Jitte? I think it's Jitte. Yeah, I'm gonna grab the Jitte. And I am going to attack, because if I can bait an attack with this Goblin Crater Maker and eat it with Endurance, that's insane. I have Coatl and Endurance here. Like, I have plays to make at the end of their turn, no matter what they do. So there's the Pashik Mons. And here comes Crater Maker. So Crater Maker can stack itself, because when a Pashik deals 1 to anything when a Goblin dies, so Crater Maker can kill Stoneforge and Coatl right now. But the good news is, I'm going to kill this thing in combat along the way. Do I want to keep fetching basics at this point, or do I want to get Tropical Island? I think I want to Trop, just to make sure I can cast my spells. The back to basics is going to be a lot worse for them than it is for me right now, with or without the Tropical Island. Okay, so I'm going to block here. And then they'll probably... They can either kill Endurance, or they can kill Stoneforge Mystic and Icefang Coatl. Alright, cool. They didn't go for the double kill. And now... Crater Maker's not in play for this Jitte. This seems too easy. I don't know. And I assume they're going to take 1 Jitte hit and then kill me somehow. But let's go. Let's see. I actually want to equip the Stoneforge Mystic. I'm going to give them a chance to lose their Pashik. Oh shit, that was so wrong. They're just going to block and bounce with Karakas. Whoops. Yeah, so, like... But that sets them back a whole turn of development. I don't know. I think this is wrong. So, what I had in mind was... They block with Pashik, kill Stoneforge Mystic, then with my 2 counters, I can -1 Pashik, they bounce in response, I -1 again, then Pashik's gone. But they can just block bounce with Karakas, and then I never get tokens. But I also still get to keep my Stoneforge Mystic with Umezawa's Jitte in play. So this is actually kind of tricky, though I don't think I should have given them the choice. I think I should have just got in with Icefang Coatl. Though this Pashik represents all sorts of problems. So either way, whether they block or don't block here, or block bounce, the Pashik is not in play. Alright, what's the line? They could also block, let damage resolve, Stoneforge Mystic is dead, then bounce before Jitte has any counters. That was also a line that was available. Alright, well, Pashik's out of play. This Karakas has done a lot of work. That's been pretty cool. I respect it. Like, if they have a Crater Maker or Trash Master here, my life would be so much worse with Pashik. Alright, so now they're in this, like, weird holding pattern, where if I draw any removal spell at any point, it just busts wide open. like so. Alright, so I'm gonna just blast this. They can pick it up, but I get in with Jitte in the meantime. Also, when they pick this up, I can kill the Ignoble Hierarch without taking one or losing my Ice Fang Coatl, which is another big deal. They could also just let this die and kill Coatl with the trigger. Alright, green, blue, another Coatl. Just seeing what I draw before I make attacks in case any of my opinions change. I can get in for the extra damage here with the backup blocker. So there are counters on Jitte. I'm going to kill Ignoble Hierarch immediately. They've made it clear that they don't have another land in their hand over the last several turns. Pyrokinesis doesn't sweep me because Jitte can put +2/+2 on the Stoneforge. Alright, Cavern was a good draw. Back to basics. See what I mean? Look at this board right now compared to back to basics. Alright, so they have their Pashik back. I can just move the Jitte and beat down with my flyers. Brainstorm, always happy to have that. Just gonna see if I can remove the Pashik before I do anything else right now. Burrow's good. Teferi's not so good. I can move the... Alright, yeah. So I can move the Jitte and still cast the other Coatl. I'm a little worried about Pashik staying in play, but if I have 3 counters on Jitte, I can remove it as needed. I am concerned about some combo kill potential. They also have 2.5 minutes left on their clock, so whatever they're doing, they better figure it out quick. And they also need to respect this Stoneforge Mystic activation, because I did just Brainstorm. Like, I don't know if they can just attack into Batterskull here. I also just don't care about Earwig Squad, like at all. Alright, no play, and in the end step I'm going to Coatl. Boom. God, I love Ice Fang Coatl so much. Alright, so they made no plays and passed the turn. I'm going to ponder, again, see if I can just shore up some of these holes in the game. Wow, that's pretty good. So if I put these back, do not shuffle the library, activate Stoneforge Mystic, put in Sword, equip Sword, this should be a problem for them. And Munitions Expert clears this Coatl at least, but it leaves the Coatl with Jitte alone. Whatever Pashik Mons or another goblin you control. Okay, so I can use my Jitte aggressively here. Alright, I'm going to try to counter this Munitions Expert with Jittes. They might just have to let Pashik die, because it'll deal 1 damage to any target when it dies, and they get crushed by Sword of Fire and Ice if they don't do this. Alright, yeah, so that is the line they took. They have to put that damage on this Coatl also. So it's wasted damage. I basically get to kill Pashik for free here. Oh, they put it on the other one. Interesting. So they're giving me the choice between, do I want to connect with Jitte or Sword of Fire and Ice this turn? And I think the answer is Jitte versus Sword. Yeah. I'll connect with Jitte. That's fine. And they can kill my Ice Fang Coatl. Or my other one. So Sword of Fire and Ice. The reason I made that decision is that Sword of Fire and Ice, when it connects, I draw a card and deal 2. Like, Munitions Expert is out of play either way, but drawing a card and dealing 2 versus, like, I know the top of my deck, and I know it's Force of Will, which they have Cavern of Souls in play, which is not the most helpful card against Cavern. Oh, am I punished by something here? Sling Gang. Alright, target player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Alright, so I want to kill this before the Sling Gang arrives. They get Sling Gang, and I'm going to kill that before its tokens arrive. So they can drain me for 1. Alright, yeah, they're scooping it up. That was crazy magic. That was like straight up 2015 magic, but with Endurance and Sling Gang Lieutenant involved. That was great. On to round number 3. On the play in round 3 with kind of a weird one. I have 2 of the weapons, but I also have Brainstorm, so I'm going to keep this. I am pretty deep on this Brainstorm right now. If my opponent just like dazes it, I'm in trouble. Alright, Snow-covered island doesn't usually indicate days, but here we go. All in on this brainstorm. And brainstorm is better than ponder here because I have these cards I actively don't want in my hand. Even though ponder is usually better when you're looking for something specific, like a land. Perfect. Alright, so I'm going to put back the 2 Stoneforge Mystic weapons. And I'm going to ponder real quick here. I'm going to ponder off of Tundra. Snow islands generally aren't in Delver decks anymore. Like, there's not really a reason to do that. But there's still a chance I get wastelanded here. But I'm going to take the risk. And I'm going to put the Vorse Will in my hand because I'm either going to need to stay alive for a turn or protect my Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, we got a Tundra Mirror. They got a Ponder, a nice one. And there's Flooded Strand. Flooded Strand can let me ponder after my Stoneforge Mystic if I want to keep the velocity going. Or I could just shove Teferi into play right now and see what kind of answers they have. My next card down is Prismatic Ending, which will be great if they just like Narset, but will be pretty bad otherwise. Alright, I'm just going to test with the Teferi. Let's go. I heard this card is good in Tundra Mirrors. Spell Pierce. Alright, so they were ready for this in a way that I'm not, because that's not a card I'm playing. I'm willing to fight over Teferi. I think this is the type of card that's going to be important. And I want my card right away in case they have Prismatic Ending. And if they play something like Counterbalance this turn, I'm going to wish my Teferi still had counters on it. Or Urza Saga. Teferi can bounce that. Return target artifact, creature, or enchantment. And this is one of those. Alright, Prismatic Ending does in fact have targets. This Engineered Explosives will eventually be really good. So I'm going to end the Retrofitter Foundry. They'll make a servo in response, and then I make Stoneforge Mystic that can block a servo, and eventually this Explosives on 0 will clear out the constructs and all additional servos. I don't think I need to fetch basics against the Urza Saga Tundra deck. Like, I don't think they're going to back to basics me. So I just want another Tundra here. And here's Stoneforge Mystic. Probably going to get Sword of Fire and Ice. That has a hard time connecting through the constructs, but I have a plan for those. And the way Urza Saga works is it's like a now or never proposition. Like if they do anything else to answer Stoneforge Mystic or Teferi these turns, then they don't get constructs, and then their land is gone next turn. So I'm hoping they just commit a bunch. Alright, they Prismatic Ended my Stoneforge, which takes them off of a construct. I like that. They can tutor for maybe Pithing Needle next turn. Because there's also a possibility that they are a combo deck that I have to respect. So they could tutor up Pithing Needle and name Sword of Fire and Ice, or name Teferi. Either way. The Swords of Plowshares was a great draw in case they are Bomberman. Like if they tutor up Lion's Eye Diamond and then just cast Auriok Salvagers, I could lose the game. I don't think they're going to needle Engineered Explosives in the blind, but I guess anything's possible. Yep, there's the needle. Did they name Teferi or Sword? If they name the Sword, sure. Another one. So the servo, I can take another slap from that this turn. And something like Endurance would be a great draw. I'll start with a Brainstorm though. Never complain about that. That's a reason not to cast the Sword of Fire and Ice, actually, now that we're here. So I'm going to put back Ponder and Uro. Does that make any sense? Alright, put back Plow and Ponder. Then I can Uro, or I can Ponder then Uro. Fetch, Ponder, Uro. Alright, so plus Teferi. I'm gonna fetch and get Tropical Island. So now at this point, they have so many, though I do not have double green. So I'm gonna get Tropical Island, Ponder, hope to find a land. Right, I did in fact find a land, and the Plow. Right, don't shuffle, cast Uro, green blue. So this Uro makes it so I have a real threat on board that can tangle with constructs. I'm probably going to use Plow this turn to keep my Teferi alive. And then next turn I can bring back Uro and then Explosives for 0 all at the same time. And I have Uro in play to their nothing. That's my plan. That's how I've lined this game up. Let's see if it works out that way. This Teferi has just absorbed like 4 or 5 damage from this servo at this point. I want Savannah to really spread out my lands. Hope they don't have back to basics right now. I wonder how many cards the Teferi has locked in their hand right now. I hope it's like all of them. Endurance. What's up, buddy? Alright, plus Teferi. Here comes Uro. Blue, green. Green, blue. There is a Snapcaster Mage in the deck. There's no Life from the Loam, so I don't have to worry about lands. Right, there's Uro. Trigger. Alright, hit my land drop even. Good news. Alright, so Engineered Explosives on 0. There you go. Let's party. So now, I mean, I guess they still make a construct because it's free. They're not doing anything else. But they make the construct, and there's a little bit of tension right now where if they just let their search trigger resolve, they could get something like Pithing Needle and turn off explosives. Alright, they just got another Retrofitter Foundry. Yeah, that's fine. They didn't bother making the construct because they know I have it covered. And Uro has their creatures covered. What? Oh, alright. Block. It's fairies at 1. Or is it 2? Do they have some sort of like damage-based removal? Did they just forget my creature is a 6/6? I don't know. I don't know what just happened. They probably got me somehow. I fell for something. But the cool thing about Uro is the worst thing that can happen to him is never that bad, because he'll be back. Like Swords to Plowshares is probably the worst thing that could happen to him. Alright, cool. Just go to my turn. I'll take that. So now I have Engineered Explosives and Endurance and Ice Fang Coatl to challenge them on the board. The Retrofitter Foundry, they do have enough mana to do some tricks with it, but I don't think I'm worried about it. I think I do want a Coatl right now. I can still hardcast Force or Endurance, but if I find Prismatic Ending, I can get rid of Foundry right now. That'll take a lot of pressure off. Okay, I'm just going to pass the turn like this. They're going to do some Foundry stuff in the end step. They can only do one thing with it right now. They need another land. At 6 mana, it starts making a Thopter every turn instead of a Servo every turn. It takes 7 mana to make 2 Servos per turn. Brainstorm, I think that's okay. Though I know their hand has been bad for a while, the way they've played the game. But I'm willing to Force of Will a payoff instead of an enabler. So I don't have triple green to play Endurance and Coatl in the end step. I'll have to pick one or the other. So if they have any sort of graveyard recursion, which is possible in a deck like this, then we're in good shape. Alright, I'm gonna Endurance and block one of these. I have this beefy 3/4 in the deck. It's time to use it. I'm gonna bomb their graveyard, just in case they have some recursive stuff. And then let's clear out these servos. Like, I haven't lost any cards here because Coatl was a 2-for-1 and Endurance didn't die. But this Retrofitter Foundry trading for actual creatures is kind of rough. Right, that's fine. Can't force that one. But Uro will be back, because that's what Uro does. Teferi is 1 turn away from bouncing Pithing Needle now. Bringing back Uro, exiling the creatures and spells I'm unlikely to flash back. Or I'm leaving a mix of spells in the graveyard. Leave 1 Brainstorm, 1 Ponder. Probably pretty safe to exile the Swords to Plowshares in this matchup. But I'm really interested in Prismatic Ending. I think this land will be better as a Brainstorm shuffle at this point in the game than it will be as a land. Brainstorm, Oh, found Prismatic Ending. That's great. So what does that do? So I get to end. Do I want to end the needle or neither? Yeah, I think I just want to let them think I don't have it. And I can cast it as an instant, so there's no rush. But I'm going to let them play their turn, and then I'll do something with the Sword of Fire and Ice when Teferi has the shields up. And I have force backup for all this with the Coatl. Oh, your own Teferi. I don't like that. That one is not going to happen. If we both have to play fair, this game no longer favors me. Okay, so in the end step, I'm going to exile Hitting Needle. They can't make 2 servos right now, and I can clear out 1 with the Engineered Explosives. Alright, they scooped up to that. Yeah, Sword of Fire and Ice, bringing the Ruckus, drawing 3 cards a turn. Good stuff. So once again, Prismatic Ending being completely ridiculous. So I do like Supreme Verdict for this matchup because the Construct army could be a concern that I have. I don't think I want Force of Will. I've seen Teferi, which is like kind of a split. Like, do you want all your Force of Wills to make sure Teferi doesn't resolve, or do you want fewer Force of Wills because you'd rather beat Teferi fair and square on board? And it's kind of a close call. Back to Basics does have text against Urza Saga, so that's potentially a good one. I'm not sure who it helps or hurts more. They had a lot of islands in their deck too. So Carpet of Flowers could give me some significant advantage. I don't have any extra stuff in my deck. Like, there's no Disenchant or whatever because the Prismatic Endings are already in the main deck. And I could cut Jitte or Force of Will. I think I want to cut Jitte because it seems like it doesn't line up against much of what they're doing. I think that Engineered Explosives, Supreme Verdict are the sort of things that I want. And I gotta cut 1 more card. This is currently 61. I could also just play 61 like a gorilla, but I'm not gonna do that. Every time I look at Endurance during sideboard, I'm like, oh, Endurance doesn't do much in the matchup, but it's always just a 3/4 flash. It always does something in the matchup, every single time. Maybe I do just want to get rid of Force of Will. Or I could go a little thinner on Stoneforge Mystic, because this game's going to go long and they're going to have removal. Yeah, I don't hate that. Let's go Stoneforge Mystic. There's a chance my opponent has Rest in Peace in their deck. I didn't see anything that recurs out of their graveyard, but it's reasonable to believe they have something like a Crucible or Hall of Heliod's Intervention, or Hall of Heliod's Generosity. But I don't know. Got the classic 2 non-basics back to basics hand. I'm going to keep it. In a matchup like this, I'm basically not going to mulligan any functional hand because I'm going to have time to operate. They're just a really slow deck. And this Sylvan Library is going to do work. Didn't see a Wasteland in game 1. Let's hope they don't have one. Also, we'll see if they are also on back to basics after board, but I really don't think you can put that in your Urza Saga deck. But I've been wrong before. So do I just fearlessly tap out into the back to basics? I think that Coatl being an instant getting to play is, and I've seen Teferi, which Library lines up really poorly against. So I think for a variety of reasons, I'm in on Icefang Coatl. Here it is. I challenge them in the end step. And I think I want to Uro this turn, probably. Or I could Coatl. If I find a green source, I get the other Coatl. Oh, no, I don't, because I need Uro first. I'm going to attack them and then Uro. In we go. The Uro's a little awkward because I have both of them in my hand, and if my opponent does have Surgical Extraction, they're going to rip a card from my hand. But there's also no rush to remove Uro from the graveyard, so maybe I can fool them that way. Like, an Uro being the only card in your graveyard isn't particularly scary. It's scary when there's 5 cards there. Alright, deck. Land. Uh-oh. Okay, no land. That's okay. I have all 4 Coatls, though. 4 of a kind, dealer. Pay me out. Super dead to back to basics here, but it's also bad for them. So I'm just not going to cast mine. That's how that works on my end. And I'm going to hope that they don't have one. I suspect they're going to spend this turn making a construct, because again, that limited hold value on Urza Saga, like use it or lose it. But they also missed a land drop. Oh, deck. Killing me. Alright. I'm going to Coatl to try to find a land drop and other Coatl this turn. Like, I have a chance to double spell with Coatl, which is not the case with Uro. Okay. I do get to double spell. Let's hope they don't have Hull Breacher. But I do have Force of Will now. Oh, shuffle that right up. Ouch. The Force of Will is nice because the Back to Basics is basically a free pitch. And discarding to hand size isn't that bad because Uro is also a free pitch here. So I have all sorts of cards in my hand that are useless, which is good news somehow. I imagine that post-board against the Uro deck, their Urza Saga will be able to tutor up some kind of graveyard spell or graveyard thing. So I could just discard the Back to Basics, save the Uro, and like let them waste their Soul Guide Lantern. But I think it's fine. Uro's gone. Like they could have Grafdigger's Cage in the box or Soul Guide Lantern. Making a second construct. My Coatls are nowhere even close to Death Touch. But I have the Supreme Verdict. Also Teferi cleanly answers a construct, just dead and gone. They could preemptively tutor up Piddling Needle on Teferi if their brain is in the galaxy. Foundry. That doesn't sack constructs, it sacks other things to turn them into constructs. Okay. No rush on that then. Yeah, them missing their land drops in this control mirror so far has been bad for them. I've also clearly not been hitting land drops, but I think it's been worse for them than it has for me. I expect a Force of Will here. They haven't played a land or a spell in the entire game, so they gotta have something going on over there. Force pitching Teferi. Force pitching the most embarrassing Back to Basics on Earth. How'd we do? Oh, it's in there. Nice. Alright, get this construct gone. It shrinks the other one. Still didn't hit a land. So I'm going to start using my Coatls to chump. My plan eventually is to Supreme Verdict to clear the board. And this Teferi will make sure the second one resolves, which is a reason to keep it in play for a turn. And if this Ponder doesn't generate a land drop, I can double block and just kill the construct. But I don't think there's a need to do that because Teferi can clear it out for free next turn. So I shouldn't spend 2 cards to answer something that I'm about to answer as a 2-for-1. Alright, but they found the land anyway, so the whole conversation's irrelevant. Brainstorm. Alright, they're fixing their busted hand over there. The Ponder into Brainstorm is really nice. But Teferi's already in play, so I've done part of my work. They are fetching. Continue to have spells. Grafdigger's Cage, yeah, sure. Alright, that card is in the deck, confirmed. There's their attack. Here's my block, my chump block as promised. So deck. That land we've been talking about. Alright, we got one. I'm going to plus this Teferi, just for funsies. And then I'm going to play this Teferi. And then I'm going to bounce their construct. And then they have no pressure in play. And I get to start doing stuff. Steady flow of cards since then. I don't expect a haste creature, so I think I can cheese in for one here. And then Stoneforge Mystic is on the menu moving forward, or these 2 more Coatls. Both my Prismatic Endings and my Snapcaster, well, Snapcaster's off from Cage, but both my Prismatic Endings are still in the deck for this Retrofitter Foundry, which I think is really the only axis of this game that's still being played in an interesting way. I think I need to Stoneforge. Gotta get that started. That one takes the longest to get rolling. And I boarded out Jete, but I do have flyers, so Sword is pretty good here. And I can attack here. It takes 5 mana to make a Thopter, or 6 mana to make a Thopter. So my flyer is good to get in. And my Coatl will have Death Touch this turn in case that matters, because I can fetch 2 Snowlands and play another Coatl and they count each other, so that's 3 other snow permanents. So I don't think I'm going to need Death Touch. It was a Shark Typhoon? Wow, I'm so jealous. Okay, I do need Death Touch, turns out. I love their deck. This is totally my shit. Just the other day on the channel, I released my version of Shark Typhoon with Urza Saga, like Urza Saga Shark still. So I want a forest and an island. I guess I could fetch plains here and still cast all my spells. Like if I need to Swords to Plowshares, I can. I can't imagine needing to Swords to Plowshares in this position though. Okay, cool. Block with my Death Touch friend. Teferi, once again controlling the game. If they have Supreme Verdict, they might need to fire it just for a chance at life. Yeah, I'm not good. Like, Swords to Plowshare, that card is so desperate. I'm happy to welcome that. Got another one. So plus Teferi. Land. So Coatl is 2. Activate Stoneforge is 2. And Sylvan Library is also 2. And that adds up to 6. So I have enough to do everything I want to do. There we go. No attacks, of course. And I could just Supreme Verdict as an instant if somehow that becomes important. Though I don't know how it would. But I've been surprised before by that Shark Typhoon. Your own Teferi. That one is actually a little bit troublesome. Green, blue. So I'll get my Coatl in. That will at least put multiple creatures on the board that they have to respect. Alright, you got your Teferi. Who's getting bounced? It's kind of funny because like Coatl is the flying attacker that I have. And you really don't want to bounce an Ice Fang Coatl. Oh, do they also have the Prismatic Ending? Oh, they have Standstill. That's bold. In the face of... I guess they don't know about the Batterskull. Uh-oh. I could also just bounce. Yeah, I think this is gonna go poorly for them. It's not their fault. They don't know about Batterskull, but it's just not gonna go where they want it to. They probably think they're safe from Sword of Fire and Ice because of the Foundry. But here's Batterskull. And let's check out my cards. Alright, I don't need a Swords to Plowshares. And I don't need all these Stoneforge Mystics either. Actually, don't need any Stoneforge Mystics. So I can go to town here. I can lose my Teferi, but I also kill their Teferi. Yeah, this is a good line. So activate this. Put in Sword of Fire and Ice. Equip Sword of Fire and Ice to this. And then bounce their Servo. I lose Teferi, but Sword of Fire and Ice gets to trigger, which kills Teferi. And then it's this giant Batterskull versus Thopter Foundry under Standstill. Interesting. Alright. This game's gonna get weird. I should have fetched before the sword draw. I didn't want to draw that Swords to Plowshares. It takes 7 mana to make 2 servos. So I guess we'll see what happens here. Old Stoneforge Mystic. The classic combo with Standstill, and it's not even my Standstill. Also, if this starts to fall behind, I have so many cards that I'm not even particularly worried about popping their Standstill. Right, so they can chump one of these and they get hit by the other. They're both 2-turn clocks. You definitely block the sword because that does more damage and draws cards, and I don't think life gain is really what this matchup is about. But I'm just going to pass the turn. It's up to them to figure this out. They're probably going to have to bust their own Standstill here. Yep, they busted their own Standstill off of a Supreme Verdict. So this happens, and then I have multiple Flash Thrust that can jump in and pick up these weapons. Another Foundry. Yep. They are dead on the board. And I'm going to test with Coatl, because that's lethal by itself. They don't even need to see the Endurance, but if they force either of these, you lose. Alright, yep. GG's. That's the scoop. I'm on the play with a hand that I'm going to have to mulligan. If I knew for sure they were on like Oops All Spells or Reanimator, this hand's actually great, but this is not a keeper, as is. This one also has problems, but it's better. I'm going to keep it and send Batterskull to the bottom. Basic Island, ship it. We have another fan of the channel. So once again, you know they're smart. All right, well, I would normally care about this, but I have explosives. So I'm going to let it resolve and save my Force of Will, but it does appear that we're in the Death and Taxes matchup. Is it weird that I saw the Tempest art planes and I was like, it's Death and Taxes? Like, I didn't consider for a second it was anything else, and it was partially because of the art. Alright, explosives for 1. I'm going to clean up this Aether Vial and the Mom that might be in it. I didn't want to fire this in on turn 1, just in the blind. And now it's a little awkward because I don't get to Teferi on turn 3 the way that I would like, but it's hard to complain about having a clean answer to Aether Vial and the creature it could possibly produce. JK, I have none of that. I'm going to force pitching Jace. This Rishadan Port's going to mess me up, so the idea of getting to 4 mana, even though I would rather have Jace in play than Teferi for this matchup, the idea of getting to 4 mana seems dubious. And I am just going to bust this now. Wish I had room to Uro here, but I don't. Thalia, that's good against Teferi and bad against Uro. Alright, Uro, let's go. I need you to find land drops. Uro triggers on the stack, found the land drop. Still can't cast Ponder, but that does line up Teferi for next turn. Not that Teferi's super helpful here, because Karakas can bounce their only permanent and fizzle my card draw. Thalia is going to attack and take back 2 of the 3 life points Uro just gave me. Stoneforge Mystic. What a sweet card. Right, so they have Batterskull. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so because of Thalia, oh, not because of Thalia, because of basic planes, I'm 1 short on this. On getting back Uro this turn. So I'm gonna cast my Ponder first, see where that goes. Swords to Plowshares is a good place to go. Umezawa's Jitte is really interesting, but also not really. I don't know. I have nothing to carry it, and they have Karakas for the Uro, so I'm actually just going to draw the Plow and shuffle the rest of these. I'm going to fetch, I'm out of basic planes, so I actually have to get a non-basic in order to cast the Plow, which is fine, because I'm already exposed to Wasteland and they already have Port. So I want to get this Savannah to load up on green sources. And I'm just going to go after Stoneforge Mystic right now before this Batterskull or the Sword of Fire and Ice that's already in their hand can jump into play. I don't actually know that Sword is in their hand, but that's exactly the sort of thing Death and Taxes would do, is just like activate Stoneforge, put in Sword, 4th land drop, surprise. Here's Thalia coming in. And they tutored Jitte and Batterskull with their 2 Stoneforge Mystics. Those are the 2 cards that I am least worried about compared to Sword of Fire and Ice. So the evidence is piling up that they already have the Sword. So I could put Uro into play, but it doesn't, it just gets bounced. I can use Teferi at least to send this Stoneforge Mystic back a turn. And then we'll know for sure whether they have the Sword or not when they replay this, and if they tutor for anything. Ooh. That's an interesting draw. So I'm going to get Island. Oh, can't get Island. I need a white source. I'm going to get Forest with the Prismatic Vista, and then Tundra. Nope. Oh, the Savannah's already in play and I need white. So yes, Tundra is the answer. And this matchup just turned sideways. Stoneforge Mystic. Let's go. So I actually do want Batterskull because it's a beefy creature that can block something that's equipped with Sword of Fire and Ice, and it's big enough to tangle with Thalia's first strike. Gotta be really cognizant of the clock in this matchup though, because these games are going to go really long, and if I fall behind on clock, I'm in trouble. I'm not blocking Thalia. Alright, I wasn't going to block anyway. Like, they can have Teferi. He did his job, which was buy me a turn and buy some time. Mother is a good one. Batterskull, I think I just want Uro. Green, green, blue, blue. Like, I am pretty interested here in keeping this game moving forward. And Batterskull I can play at any time, basically. And even if they bounce Uro with Karakas, that's still more cards I get to draw. I'm saving this land. It's probably better for Brainstorm than as a land at this point. And they're kind of locked under their own Thalia with their Sword of Fire and Ice that's in their hand. So if they can work around to get through here, this is actually going to be really tough to bust up because Supreme Verdict's in the sideboard and I already used my Engineered Explosives. So the Mother of Runes, I basically have to equip a flyer with Jitte to get through this thing. Stoneforge Mystic. Are you going to fail to find? Was I right? Yep, told ya. Alright, no plays. Alright, let's see if they let me attack with Uro. Nope. But that does... It doesn't leave the shields down. I was about to say that leaves the shields down for Thalia, but that's not true because now they have Mother of Runes. Alright. Time to Brainstorm. Endurance is a nice one. Though also not really. I can put back... So Uro costs 3, so does Endurance. Batterskull I can just jam for the max. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think I do want to jam the Batterskull. And Endurance doesn't do much. Alright, it's Batterskull time. Just fetching. I'm gonna get Tropical Island with the last one. Make sure my green count stays high. So they can equip Thalia, or they do need the 4th land, which they've missed on for the whole game so far. But they can 4th land, put in Sword, equip Thalia, and get an attack, which does deal 6 damage and draw a card, but Batterskull is not a card they can kill with Sword at least. Yeah, this game is starting to drift away. Ooh, they didn't have Sword. They didn't have anything. Does nothing go? That's weird. Unless they're investing in a future Batterskull situation. Let's put Uro in the graveyard. Draw a card. A Teferi. Teferi bounces equipment later. That's not the worst thing. Green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave a plow in the graveyard for Snapcaster. There's some world where I might be able to overload the Mother of Runes with multiple spells. Ooh, Stoneforge Mystic was a good find. So that tutors up the Jitte, which is half of my plan to get back in this game. Jitte plus Flyer is how I do this. Alright, there we go. I'm not going to attack with my Batterskull because they can just put theirs in and give their germ pro black. And then I lose my germ and they get to keep theirs. So no thanks. But now I have 3 different color blockers. I have a white one, a blue-green one, and a black one. And here's Batterskull. Uro's back in my hand. I think the play is to equip Thalia, give it pro white, and then when they attack, I either lose my germ to first strike or I lose my Stoneforge to the trigger and they draw a card. I think I will block in that situation. Though that also taps them off the Mother of Runes for the turn, which could collapse their House of Cards. Alright, let's see what they end up wanting to do. Oh, they had Cauldra. So it wasn't Sword, it was Cauldra the whole time. Caudra's a good one. Here come these jerks. I'm going to block their germ with mine, because if they tap their Mother of Runes, that opens the door for me. But I think they'll just let this happen. We both gained some life. Teferi is almost good here. If I find, like, Swords to Plowshares or something to challenge this Mother, that certainly wasn't it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Teferi. 1, 2, 3. Ugh. I could equip Batterskull to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then... yeah, I actually don't hate that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if they do like a block protection thing, Teferi can bounce Mother, and then the door's open. But I don't know why they would do that when they could just easily take 5 and it doesn't matter. Yeah, they agree with that assessment, it seems. I'm going to fire the Uro, and I'm going to leave up white mana when I do it. If I find a land, I get to activate Stoneforge here. And if I don't, I can just hold up Force of Will for the turn. Okay, that plow is going to be really good next turn. Alright, we're in battle mode now. Scrappy Stoneforge Mystic battle mode. I need to get this Jitte equipped and connected. So they can equip and connect their Jitte this turn. No! Oh, okay. I was ready. I had a plan for that. I'm a blue deck. I get to cast Swords to Plowshares. Or Force of Will. Ooh, no attacks. They're getting scared. Or getting smart. One or the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I... Swords to Plowshares, Mother of Ruins. Or Swords... Yeah, I think I Plow Mother. LOL. If I do that, it's going to protect itself from white. Maybe that was not the right way to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need white mana, so 4. Here's Teferi. Teferi can bounce their Phyrexian Germ token. Currently, now I can bash in for 5. They can pick up Thalia with Caracas, but if they do that, I get to cast Ponder. Alright, that wasn't quite what I was looking for, but there's probably a way to do that that was better. Do they have another mom? Oh, jeez. Alright. I'm glad I didn't dedicate too much effort to that, now that they have the second mom. Now they have the Caracas, Thalia, Violon 2 combo, where they can just block and absorb damage for free every combat all the time. But if they try to get like a cheeky little point in on Teferi, just like give Thalia pro white or give Stoneforge pro white attack, they're going to get ambushed by Endurance. Alright, well, they're not going to fall for that. They're just porting me main phase. Alright. You were right, I had it. I'm gonna... Can I decline this? Nope. Alright, that's not the way to do that. I probably should not have bombed them because that's a Skyclave Apparition back in their deck for a Recruiter of the Guard tutor package thing, and they don't actually use their graveyard for anything, so I think this would have just been a decline situation. Alright, so Stoneforge is gone. If they want to fire up and clear Teferi, they can. Alright, that is in fact the plan. Alright, just a flying creature at some point goes a long way. Teferi's gone. Mostly did his job. There's my flying creature. Do I want them to know I have this? I think it's probably not. Alright, so I'm gonna Ponder. Force of Will and another Coatl. I like all of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can put Jitte into play this turn, but that gives them the chance to Apparition it. But they're going to have Vial on 3 anyway, so they could Apparition whenever they want. Yeah, I guess I'm going to cast the Jitte this turn. Might regret it, but I hope not. I guess if they have Recruiter, they would have had to Vial on 3, or they could recruit main phase, then yeah, it doesn't matter. If they have Apparition or a Recruiter, they could have removed my Jitte either way. But they have their own, which could mess up my plans here pretty hard. Yeah, if they just fire up. So if I block, yeah, I'm definitely going to block here. Like, they don't get this for free. They can use their Jitte counters to finish off the Endurance. But then I get to connect with mine. I just gotta hope that that hand doesn't have a relevant 3-drop in it, like Flicker Wisp or Skyclave Apparition both do it. This is actually really scary. I have 2 flyers, but they can't both hold Jitte. I have Force backup, but that doesn't help against Aether Vial. Alright, well, let's see where this goes. One of us is about to win the game. I'm not going to attack with my backup Coatl because that's not important. Like, they either have it here or they don't. It is likely that they had it. Okay, Flicker Wisp is so much better than the other thing. Oh, they're flickering Cauldra. Interesting. They're just letting me sweep them. Okay. Oh no, because they have moms. Duh. The flying blocker is the... Okay, yeah. I knew there was a missing piece there. I was like, this can't be too easy. Alright. So, Uro, blue, blue, green, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here comes Uro. This Caracas has been insane for them the whole game. No surprise there. It's an insane card. And I think I have to ponder because I need like Swords to Plowshares, right? Or, oh, that's actually really good. Okay, so I can get rid of their Jitte and check out this cool trick. I announce Prismatic Ending for 1, and I pay 2 colors to do it, and it gets rid of the Jitte for 2 mana. And their Flicker Wisp has already been used, so now I just have to beat Kaldra. I don't have to beat Jitte anymore. But they have the 2 mobs also. My Engineered Explosives long gone, Supreme Verdict's in the sideboard. I think I'm going to spend the rest of this game just trying to catch up on clock, because I am down 2 minutes. And that's going to really matter here. I'm also at 41 life. That's a lot. Aether Vial activation. I have Recruiter. So they can get that Apparition. I shuffle back in. But they play more than one, so it's not like, ooh, Solitude. That's bad. Woof. Okay. Oh, they took the Uro. That's actually good, because I have the second one in hand. And Coatl is just a more valuable card to me right now. Attack with their first strike creatures. They deal 7, I'm at 40. You got me. 20 cards left in my deck. Should Ponder first. Ponder, what does that do? Stoneforge Mystic, Snapcaster Mage, Swords to Plowshares. I'm going to set up a multi-turn line here to pressure their moms. I have like Plow, Snap, Plow that can tap things and perhaps get me to a point where I'm equipping Jitte and turning it sideways. Green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Burrows in, at least temporarily. Gain back 6 of the 7 life they just took from me. Then pass the turn. I'm holding up Force of Will if that matters, but I don't want to lose my Snapcaster to it. Maybe they'll just bounce Uro with Karakas and give me something to pitch to plow, or to force. They're in a position where they have to make a lot more decisions every turn than I do. So that's where I get to pick the clock back up. I'll admit, I did not think when I queued into this league that this would be one where I spend all 50 minutes every round. This is going to be a long video. Alright, equip Batterskull. Can't Force of Will that. Alright, so they attack with their 2 first strikers. Or just one of their first strikers? Nope, both of them. Yeah, that makes more sense. They gain 6 life. Alright, no blocks. I don't care about a 12 life point swing. That's not part of my plan. Okay, so Swords to Plowshares. Target. Oh, Solitude does not have flying. It has flash. Okay. Allow that. Oh, I just fucked up. I forgot I ate the other plow. Damn it. Okay, no, it's fine. So that gets countered. Then Snapcaster Mage. Target Swords to Plowshares on the other Mother of Runes. The Other of Runes. And then it can either lose the Mother of Runes or they can give Flicker Wisp pro green. But they can't do both. Either way, this does move me forward a little bit. But I was definitely supposed to start with the Prismatic Ending. And then... But ending on Flicker Wisp costs 1 million, so maybe that's not right. What did they do? Okay, they saved their mother. So now I need for the Aether Vial not to come up with any dirty tricks. In for 1. Alright, pro white. That's not a color that this card is. Jitte is now armed and dangerous. And I'm going to pass the turn. No, I'm going to kill the mothers right now. I don't want them to untap and get good attacks. Okay, cool. And I have another Jitte, or another Coatl that can pick up the Jitte next turn. They're going to port me, and I'm going to flash in my Coatl. There it is. Which is great, because now I get to F6, which is what I really want to do here. I'm now within 1 minute of my opponent. I believe I'm ahead on board right now with the Jitte. Like, Jitte just being what it is such a huge deal. And if they let me untap then I'll have Force of Will up for a Swords to Plowshares, so they should probably just plow right now if they're going to remove my Coatl. I have no blocks for your 6/5 lifelinker. That's not part of my plan. Aether Vial? Yeah, that sucks. Okay, so their other Vial needs to do the Lord's work right now. Don't need to hold up Force of Will. They can either remove this thing or they can't. And that's the game. One way or the other. Do they want to bounce Uro before combat? Probably not. I'm not going to attack with it. Okay. It's better in my hand. Here comes Coatl. Alright. Jitte has connected a second time. And I'm just going to hold Uro in my hand as a Force of Will thing, and I'm going to get my last sword out of the deck. Alright, here we go. I'm going to leave the counters on Jitte because I want to be able to remove Recruiter of the Guard or impact combat at instant speed. Like if they have Flicker Wisp, I want to get rid of the Recruiter and the Wisp, probably. I believe I am winning this game at this point. They can do that. Probably should have floated mana to make them move through combat. Uh-oh. They have something. It is the Apparition. We're only going to remove Jitte. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to take out the Recruiter on the way through and buff Coatl. Is that the play? I think so, because then I can beat Thalia in combat. Okay, they got rid of that thing. That was all in their draw step. Weird. Another Vial. I don't care about that. Alright, now it's my turn again. And I get to go Sword of Fire and Ice. Equip it to Coatl. Attack. Force of Will back up. I'm going to shoot the Solitude. There's a chance I deck myself before I can actually win this game. Just saying. And then Prismatic Ending on this. Blue, white, green. I don't want them to be able to flicker that and exile something else. So I get this back and then just pass the turn with Force of Will up. Yeah, I think I am ahead and winning this game. And this turn will get me ahead on clock. So all of the important resources are in my favor currently. They're in their combat step. Here comes Kaldra. That is not even close to relevant. This Thalia has literally been in place since turn 2. It's the same one. It's been doing the same thing the whole time. I think decking me has to be their plan. Or they're just playing to clock at this point, trying to get those few seconds back. That's fine. I'll try to win the game in the meantime. Alright, pass the turn. Alright, yeah, they are dead on board. They'll know this draw step if they can win this game or not. And I have Force of Will for Swords to Plowshares. And we won that game. Wow. And we're up 40 seconds on the clock. 30 seconds. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That was completely insane. I did not think we were going to break through that. Alright, Supreme Verdict. I'm not sure if I went back to basics. Like, Caracas is really good. Rashad Port's pretty good, but my deck also is mana hungry. Containment Priest turns off Aether Vial, but it also turns on Flicker Wisp to be a hard removal spell. I guess we'll see what I'm trying to remove from the deck. Because in general, I'm mostly pre-boarded, other than the Supreme Verdict being a huge deal. I think I might want the Priests. Or maybe one of them. I have Prismatic Ending to answer, and Teferi to answer Aether Vial otherwise. There's not really that many answers to Aether Vial, but I can beat a crazy board, like we just saw. Like, Bant's ability to grind is pretty significant. So I'll cut at least one Force of Will, and I think I like the rest of these cards. Is it crazy to cut Sylvan Library just because I'm worried about the amount of clock it eats up? Actually, that is a 3-mana card against Thalia that doesn't, and I'm on the draw, and it doesn't impact the board. It's a bad top deck. I'm mostly just trying to justify cutting that card because I'm afraid of the clock, and I think I've done a good job of that. But Supreme Verdicts and Back to Basics, I definitely want. The Containment Priest is optional. You could have Sylvan Library over Priest, and I wouldn't be mad at you. On the draw with a hand that has Coatl and 2 basics and Stoneforge Mystic. I'm going to keep this. The lack of removal is a little concerning, but I think it'll be okay. Pass here. I've played around Rishadenport with my fetch land, and them not having a 1-drop is pretty nice. So I'm going to fetch for Forest. Maybe I should have got Plains there since I just drew another green fetch land. Right, yeah, let's just get Stoneforge Mystic to work and find Batterskull. I mean, Jitte is the important one, but I have another Stoneforge here, and this way they can't just play around with... yeah, definitely could have avoided that Wasteland, but I think I'm favored in a Wasteland game right now. Yeah, getting the Batterskull over Jitte represents a threat that they need to answer. And if they port me, I can either play Coatl, or I can just ignore it, make my land drop, and put in Batterskull. You got your own Stoneforge, that's pretty good. So they haven't seen my Sword of Fire and Ice. Prismatic Ending was a really good draw, as usual. I think I want to just Coatl in the end step and then hit them with the sword. Wasteland's pretty good. And sub Coatl. I'm sure they're very surprised by that play. Yeah, not getting that basic Plains on turn 2 is hitting me pretty hard now that I'm this deep in the game and they had 2 Wastelands. So I'm just going to dance around for a little while, make sure I don't lose to Wasteland. Got an island, cast Ponder. Once I find a basic Plains, I should be able to operate pretty freely here. Right, there's the Plains. Do not shuffle my library. Land drop for the turn. And might as well attack, I guess. The other one can trade with Batterskull just as well. Alright, so is it Batterskull? Is it Kaldra? Did they juke me? They had the Sword of Fire and Ice the whole time. It was, in fact, Batterskull. I can Prismatic Ending the Germ token if I want to. So here comes this. They gain 4. I'm not going to trade because I do like my flyers. I think they're going to be really important to how this game works. Thalia is not detrimental to my plan. If they go for the Rishadenport, I get to Vial in, or Stoneforge in. That basic Plains. Activate Sword of Fire and Ice. Get up. This is going to kill Thalia and draw a card. Or do I care about killing Thalia? I probably want to kill Stoneforge Mystic. So they can cast their Wasteland, or use their Wasteland here, but I think I'm ahead on the board, so I'm not in a hurry to worry about that. Alright, Skyclave Apparition costs double white, so that takes them off Swords to Plowshares for a turn cycle. I am going to trade with the Germ if it comes in again. Now I actually do need to absorb some damage. And I can remove Thalia with Prismatic Ending because they just tapped low. If I draw a land, I can connect with Jitte and ignore all of this. Oh no, that's not true. They have Port. Yeah, so they're deciding between Port or Waste. Take me off green makes some sense. I should have violed in Batterskull. Whoops. Alright. So Thalia, white, blue, done. Stoneforge Mystic. Get the Jitte. Insulate against a removal spell, because now I have multiple of these. Oh. Not going to attack with that, because they could equip Batterskull and Bash for 6. And I want my Death Touch blocker back for that moment. Yep, got me with the Wasteland. It's weird that they wasted my tap land in their own draw step. I wonder what's going on with that. Is that a trick, or just irrelevant? Maybe they have a stop in their draw step, and they think it's their main phase. I don't know. I guess I should at least be representing Force of Will. I shouldn't make it super obvious that I'm F6'd. Make them think about it a little bit. Alright, now they don't need to think about anything. So they can tutor for Revoker and revoke Jitte. And that does slow me down a little bit, but I haven't drawn any of my removal spells yet in my deck. I guess I have one Prismatic Ending in the graveyard. So I do have lots of outs here. There's the... Alright, so I'm going to put back Batterskull and one of the forces or one of the Teferis. Alright, yeah, one of the Teferis is back. And fetch basic island, or I'm out of islands. Alright, I'll get this. And then Stoneforge Mystic can get Batterskull back, but that's not important. Hold on. Slow down. Slow down. Actually, I'm gonna brainstorm first. Oh, that back to basics is insane. Put back this and this. So put back one of my forces. Get the Batterskull with this. And then pass the turn with Force of Will available. I'm playing kind of crazy because I'm worried about the clock, but we're pretty well set up here. Nope. Force pitching to Fairy. I think that's the worst blue card in my hand. And then back to basics. And Ice Fang Coatl are my plan for this turn. So I can attack with this one because I have the other one lurking. And they tapped 2 of their non-basics last turn, so that was the old double Stone Rain. They were nice enough to wasteland me off of all of my non-basics, so I don't have to worry about that. Flicker Wisp. Sure. I'm going to reset Batterskull. I'm going to reset that. Okay. So that gives me a 3/3 creature, and they get to remove my back to basics, I guess. I'm going to let this come back and choose a target before I put in my Coatl. Alright, so it got the back to basics. Someday I'll draw Swords to Plowshares and just end the game immediately. Swords to Plowshares. Alright, Jace, not quite. There it is. Do not shuffle. Plow. Phyrexian Revoker. Land. I am out of basics. Whip Jitte. Just moving fast right now. Got a game to win. Attack with my 3/3. Thank you, opponent. Got good attacks there. Alright, 2 counters on Jitte. Let's party. We are both at 4:38 on our clock. This is so tight. In 5 minutes is plenty of time to win this match from here. But this has been a crazy tight match the whole time. Oh, we got the GG in the chat. What a crazy match that we came out on top of. That was awesome. Glad that one's on camera. On the play, I'm going to keep this hand with Ponder Stoneforge Mystic in the final trophy round here. And I think I'm just going to land go. I don't know what I'm playing against yet. I don't know what this Ponder needs to do. And it's my blue card for force. So, see, I would not have pondered for an answer to exploration. What is my answer to exploration? I think I'm just going to fire off the force here and try to cheese with Stoneforge. Also knowing that I need to fetch basics now is pretty nice. Oh, had a basic anyway. Alright, I'm done drawing lands for the rest of the game now, deck. Do you hear me? I'm serious. So I want Batterskull, because that's the big one. That's the one that can get out of Punishing Fire range. If they have Punishing Fire right now, I'm in trouble. Because then my hand doesn't do anything until turn 5. Oh, they're making red. Oh, Lightning Bolt in this deck. Interesting. Not a card generally seen in the lands deck. Alright. Drew Jitte. Someday I'll draw an Ice Fang Coatl to pick it up and we're just off to the races. Alright, it looks like hitting that exploration did slow them down quite a bit. But not sure if it's enough yet. My deck is not listening to my request for no more lands. Blast Zone. That can eventually kill Jitte. Or Batterskull. Why aim so low? That is not super helpful here. I can hardcast Batterskull next turn even through the port. What a ridiculous game that would be if I just hardcast a turn 6 Batterskull, equip it with Jitte, and then go coast to coast with that. I'm not just going to fire in Snapcaster Mage to try to pick up Jitte and run with it. My opponent has indicated that they are a Lightning Bolt deck. I assume Punishing Fire's in the deck, or else why would you have Grove of the Burn Willows? Like, this Snapcaster is not going to deal 20 damage, so I'm just not going to engage with that. If I had a Brainstorm in the graveyard, some way to get ahead on cards, I would fire it off, make them have it, and get a little card advantage along the way, but that's not the case. And here we go. Basic lands forever. Gonna get my 2 forests, jam this Batterskull. Hope they don't play Disenchant in the main deck. Slow and steady. God, they're tapping mana. Or they're starting up their Blast Zone. Gotta get that sucker up to 5. Batterskull is in. Good news is, even if they do get this up to 5, I can pick up Batterskull. Go to the Valakut Exploration. That's a really good card. That's the kind of card that can beat a Batterskull. Right, just wasting me. Already have 5 lands. I'm good. Every basic in my deck. Oh no, there is a 3rd island, I think. I don't remember. Maybe there's only 2 islands, and I'm thinking of a different Bant Shell. I do play a lot of them. Hello, Uro. Good to see you. Yeah, I can get a taste of this. Not mad about Uro in the Wasteland matchup. Not mad about Jace either. Alright, so I'm gonna equip the Jetay. Let's get to work. Crop rotation. For Ancient Tomb? No, that doesn't do anything. What are they getting? What's happening right now? Oh, Mace of Ith. Yeah, that's a good one. Fair enough. Alright, my new plan is Jace the Mind Sculptor. I'm going to attack in case they forget to Mace of Ith. Alright, I got Uro in the bin. I got Jace in the hand. Unfortunately, the Rishadan port does show them pretty much loud and clear that they should be... or the Uro in the graveyard shows them that they should be porting me off of double blue or double green. This Ghost Quarter is terrifying, though. If they have a Loam, I could actually lose because all my basics are in play. I hope they don't recognize that right away and don't move in on it. Another crop rotation. Getting Bajuka Bog, killing the Uro. Yeah, I need to get Jason to play at this point. Really hope they either port wrong or don't Ghost Quarter me. If they're going to Ghost Quarter me, they're going to wait for my draw step to do it, because that gives me the chance of drawing extra basics. So porting me off white, I like that. Alright, Jace is in. Now it's hard mode. Just gotta keep them off life from the Loam for a while. Or Punishing Fire. No, you can have a Forest. And here come the attacks. Okay, they have Punishing Fire for Jace. Also, they can get Blast Zone up to 4 at some point. They did crop rotate away 2 of their Groves. So they only have 1 left. And that's not quite enough to kill Jace right now. They don't have the red sources for it. Thespian Stage, exiled. Their hand is Punishing Fire. So they can fire Jace. Alright, yeah, maybe I need to be brainstorming with Jace. Force of Negation, I think, locks this game up for me. And they can kill Jace next turn cycle if I don't plus. But I think a Force of Negation is going to be better anyway. Come on, Force. Force of Negation, let's go. Alright, definitely need to turn these plows into something better. Force of Will, not quite what I wanted. But I'll take it for now. They're going to have to draw another red source to kill Jace this turn. And they have to commit a bunch of mana to the first punish. Verdant Catacombs. Counter that. They don't have double red. They can copy Grove with Thespian Stage this turn if they just want more red or more Groves. Yeah, there it is. So Jace is done this turn. Might as well get a nice big brainstorm out of him because he's not doing anything else. This Maze of Ith, the bane of my existence. Not even sure what my outs are this game. I guess I just have to go wide around the Maze of Ith. And Force of Negation is a huge part of the plan. There is one of those in the deck. They rebought their fire. Sort of fire and ice, not what I'm looking for here. Come on, Force of Negation. Alright, I can get another look for Force of Negation. Maybe I wanted that sort of fire and ice. I didn't even think about it. That does give pro red to my creatures. Oh, Endurance. Yeah, that's a good one. Forgot that card's in the deck. I'm going to put Snapcaster Mage on top and then begin my beatdowns, and I can play 2 Endurances this turn. Then I can start moving my weapons around and they can't stop all of them. I'm keeping the Swords of Plowshares because I don't want to just suddenly lose to Merit Lage at any point. I should be able to bomb their graveyard. Like, they Punishing Fire Jace, they go to rebuy it. Oh, no. Oh, Wasteland. Alright, yeah, they can have those. They can't have the Loam. So they cast Punishing Fire to kill Jace. They found an Exploration. That's really good. Alright, these Endurances showed up just in time. Alright, so they play Verdant Catacombs. Fetch immediately. Taiga finds another Valakut Exploration and Wasteland. So they're punishing fire. Jace dies. Oh, I don't have quadruple green. Shit. My whole plan is in trouble now. Alright, if they pay red, or if they don't pay red. Alright, I'm gonna hit them with Endurance right now. Yeah, in my brain I had quadruple green, which is clearly not the case. It's kind of hard to do for my deck, actually. Alright, so they get their fire back. And then their loam is gone. They're wasting me. It's weird to waste in response to the endurance trigger, unless you want it in your deck to draw. Alright, they have their fire. And then move the Jitte onto endurance. Probably should have left the basics up. Fast and loose. We're only playing for the trophy. I think I'm still panicking from the clock last round, which I don't need to do right now. Like, I'm actually good. Like, I'm ahead on clock. Doing just fine here. Oh, I can also endurance myself. That's interesting. Like, if we get to a point where they're ghost quartering me, I can endurance my basics back into my deck so I can search for them. Ancient Tomb, Valakut Exploration. They found a third Valakut Exploration. It's a powerful card. But I am actually pushing for damage at this point. The Valakut's trigger again. They found a Sylvan Library and Dark Depths. Alright, library's in. It's not like cards were the bottleneck here. They're punishing fire on that. They buy it back. They fire it again. I think it just dies. Yeah, that's the plan. Let's see if they buy back their fire right away. Or if they wait. I think there might be a trick I can do here. So they dump their graveyard. Or they dump their Valakut Explorations. I'm 1 mana short of the trick I want to do. So, maybe not. No, I'm just going to endurance them again. Keep the pressure up. The thing I wanted to do was Snapcaster Mage, and then when they buy back their punishing fire, because they only have 1 Grove left, I can bomb them with endurance in response. But that didn't work out that way. And I think Snapcastering on my own turn and getting a Brainstorm in this spot is much better than other things that might happen. I think I've played most of my endurances, so I can Snapcaster here. Off of green. The Pajuka Bog's already in play. Also, I don't think they would waste a crop rotation on bogging a Brainstorm right now. Brainstorm found the Force of Negation. That's what I wanted the whole game. Prismatic Ending is good here, but not this turn. Maybe next turn. Oh, I did just tap out of white, but that doesn't matter. I'm well over 20 life, and I'm about to go to 27. Okay. They let me connect with Jitte instead of with Batterskull. I guess it is mostly the same. So they get to Sylvan Library, and then I can Force of Negation, Loam if they have it, or Punishing Fire, and I can force the fire the second time they cast it. Or they could just put their whole deck into play right now with these 2 Valakut Explorations, 2 regular Explorations. Caracas, doesn't matter. Another Exploration. And okay, and a Loam. Crop rotation. I have the Plow for Merit Lage. Alright, I don't have a plan for that. Probably should have countered that. Alright, the zombies are coming. Yeah, I'm gonna lose to the Field of the Dead now for sure. Alright, yeah, back to basics. This matchup is made to eat blue decks, and the fact that we went as far as we did is a big deal. If I can get Icefang Coatls over the finish line, like, it's possible to still win this. It just doesn't seem likely. They still have that Blast Zone on 2 over there that can hit Jitte and Snapcaster. And there is an Engineered Explosives in my main deck, which will kill my Germ token, but will also kill all of their zombies. Alright, so I'll take a zombie out with me. I think that body in play is worth more than most of what's going on right now. I'm drawing Prismatic Ending. What does that do? Anything? Not anymore. Now they have way too many things. They have a second Field of the Dead. Oh yeah, we're dead. Maze of Ith, Coast to Coast. Another exploration. Yeah. This Force of Negation is just gonna die in my hand. They've crossed their threshold. But everything they're doing is taking a lot of time, which, as we've discussed in previous rounds, is a big part of this matchup. I'm up 2 minutes on the clock. Hopefully I can make them need all of them. I take a zillion from these Valakut explorations. Maybe they'll deck themselves with Valakut exploration. It might have happened already if I hadn't endurance them twice. Prismatic Ending, what do? I can just get rid of one of these Valakut explorations. 1, 2, 3. Nope. Need blue in there. Alright. Ha! Gotcha with the pride. Germ Token does more on defense than it does on offense at this point. I can't win this game. I'm just eating up some clock right now. And Force of Negation also is completely irrelevant because they have multiple loams and they can sack their Horizon Canopy to get their other loam back if I counter the first one. They're getting Wasteland, Wasteland, Wasteland. So, or Wasteland Blast Zone. Sure. I think I'm going to save the Force for Punishing Fire at this point. Like, if they take some sort of line that can put me low but not dead and are counting on that. They found another fire off of this exploration. Alright, so they punished Endurance. I'm going to wait till they do it the second time to kill it. Or to exile it. But now Endurance can't block a zombie either. Alright, they had 2 of them at this point. Ha! Gotcha! So I gain a life. They get their 1 fire back. They can finish off Endurance. Next turn they can roast my Germ. So next turn the zombie army might be lethal by itself. Even through the Germ. Anything's possible. They're also representing Merit Lage? No, they're not. Their stage is tapped. So they can attack with all of these. I'll block one of them. They still net damage. They can also Maze of It, the one that they attacked with, and I don't gain life from that, but then I get to attack back. So the Valakut explorations, are they lethal? Do they have enough land drops to kill me with that? Probably. They can get 10 cards under their explorations. Yeah, this is a lot of triggers. Wasted me. More triggers. Gonna waste me again. Very dead to these zombies. They have Lightning Bolt. And they cast it off of Punishing Fire. That's funny. But they've probably done the math. I'm taking 4 right now from Valakut explorations. I'm at 4. Engineered Explosives off the top. Alright, that wasn't Engineered Explosives. Alright, I'm going to plow one of their zombies to show them who's boss. And then attack with my Phyrexian Germ. I love saying that out loud. This creature type was recently errated or added to be a Phyrexian Germ instead of just a regular Germ. Alright. Engineered Explosives actually would have been pretty sweet there. I'm still losing the game, but it would have been fun. And I gain 4, which triggers their Punishing Fire, which is really funny. And then go ahead. And they attack me for 20 with their zombies. Okay. 16 minutes on my clock, 12.5 on theirs. Now I bring it back to basics. And I at least have some weapon. Back to basics, Rest in Peace, Surgical Extraction. Now I actually have some weapons for the matchup. I want the Blue Blast because Valakut Exploration is a huge deal. I don't think I want Supreme Verdict. Like, if they're making zombies, I've already lost. Force of Negation is great. Force of Will, not so much. Umasawa's Chite does very little for the matchup. And if I'm cutting weapons, maybe I should have a Stoneforge Mystic as well. Prismatic Ending, answering Exploration or Valakut Exploration is a nice addition to the deck. Again, here we go with Prismatic Ending just being completely insane. Stoneforge Mystic is out. Only 2 things to get with it. It's less of a priority. Also, this matchup is long. Also, they have lots of removal. So that is just less of what I'm trying to do. I need some Swords to Plowshares in the deck out of respect for Merit Lage. But I don't need all of them. I could probably go even thinner, actually. If I do that, what comes in? Like Flusterstorm, tempoing out a loam draw, like countering loam once or twice during the developmental turns while I'm beating down, is actually a reasonable plan sometimes against lands, and sometimes cards like Flusterstorm are just horrifically embarrassing. But I am going to bring it in. It does challenge crop rotation in a way that I like. Do I have 3 Coatls, lots of life, or 4 Coatls, lots of life gain. I'm going to leave in 2 Plows out of Merit Lage respect. I'm going to keep this Island Ponder hand with a Stoneforge. I need the Ponder to find lands, but this hand does get to work pretty well. Snow-covered island. Not going to get wasted out of this game. I might miss my land drops out of this game, though. Ah, shit. Not like this. Come on, Ponder. Don't betray me. I will counter Exploration. I like that both my weapons are in my hand. Was that true when I kept this hand? Shit. Well, apparently we're doing this. In the trophy round. Looking at the top 5 cards in my deck was not enough to find the second land. Their hand doesn't look particularly good either. Come on. Really need a green source before they find a Rishadan port. Need to get the Sylvan Library in play. They have Stage and Exploration. So I'm in all kinds of trouble. Green land, please. Alright, well. This green land plays straight into Wasteland, but I don't think I have a choice right now. I'm going to get Savannah, because that also casts Stoneforge Mystic. Whoops, I don't want Stoneforge Mystic. I want Sylvan Library. And Teferi's not irrelevant. If I can find a land, I can start pulling this forward, but the fact that they have Stage already, Exploration just resolved, they can do depths-related shenanigans. The Valakut Exploration is triggering now. Finding Wasteland and Sylvan Library. Yeah, that sucks. Sometimes you just get got. They have Sylvan Library now. Okay, thanks, deck. I will try to put those to use. I'm going to put Tundra on top and pay for Forest. But it's so awkward that both of my weapons are just in my hand. I don't even get a shuffle here. Do I want to pay for? Yeah, I think I have to. And if they have a loam, they can waste me again. Yeah, I guess I just play that and pass. The trophy is gone. There's no reasonable path to win this game. There's not even a reasonable path to waste a bunch of time and time them out, which was part of my strategy all along. I guess I could still rip into back to basics. That's the thing that could turn this game around. But we already see 1 Pyroblast, so we know they have some answers to it at least. So crop rotation. Do they get depths with this or Ghost Quarter? Rishadan Port. Yeah, that's a good one. They've correctly identified that I don't have a whole lot of mana over here. They played Horizon Canopy instead of Bajuka Bog. They hit Mox Diamond under one of these explorations. Oh, and they still had another land drop too. On a Grove, another exploration. Wow, this is messed up. Maybe that hand's just a mulligan. And obviously, in retrospect, missing the land drop feels real bad, but it didn't have a blue blast or an out to any of this anyway. This Mox Diamond sucks because that gets me, even if I find the back to basics. Oh, more land drops, and now they're making zombies. Oh well, team. We made a good run of it. Lands is meant to beat the blue decks, and this particular lands player has done extremely well for themselves with this start compared to me missing my land drop off Ponder. They got the basic forest as well. They're just set up for anything that could go wrong here. And I'm mostly just dead. Like, they attack for 4. They take 5 right now from the Valakut Explorations. They attack for 4 and then just make a land drop next turn and I'm dead. And they get to port me on the way through. Alright, that's way little too late. I could clear the zombies, but it doesn't matter. GG's. Alright. Tough ending to an awesome league. I'm not going to let that rain on my parade. This was so much fun. We had a lot of insane games caught on camera. Maybe should have mulliganed that last round. Honestly, I didn't even look to see if both of my equipment were in my hand with the Stoneforge Mystic when I kept that hand. I just saw like land, ponder, Stoneforge Mystic, and I made it just glazed over. Or did I draw the Sword of Fire and Ice on my second turn? Or off the ponder? Did one of them come off the ponder? I don't remember. Go check the video. But if both weapons were in hand, that probably is a mulligan, and I should have shipped it. But whatever, here we are. 4-1 with this deck. This actually felt really, really good. Like, to the point where I have a local paper event this weekend that I was going to play Bant Flash in, but I'm considering cutting my Shark Typhoons and adding the Stoneforge Mystics in for that tournament. Like, this felt really, really good. Like, the format doesn't seem to be in a place where it's really ready to fight Stoneforge Mystic because nobody's really playing it outside of Death and Taxes. So that is definitely an angle that is exploitable. There were a lot of decisions to be made. Basically, this circles straight back to the deck tech 3 hours ago, or however long ago it was that I started this league, where I said that this Bant shell is powerful, and then you can just season to taste. Like, do you want Terminus? Do you want Shark Typhoon? Do you want Stoneforge Mystic? This is just another thing you can do in this powerful Bant shell. And I was pretty impressed with the Stoneforge Mystic the whole time. Lining up against Delver, Batterskull, just having all this incidental life gain between Uro and Batterskull and Jitte is pretty hot. Sword of Fire and Ice is blue and red, and this gives protection from blue and red. So it's pretty good against Delver. Also, just Stoneforge Mystic being more cheap bodies to put in front of Ragavan is not the worst thing that there's ever been. So there's a lot to like about this deck, and it's given me a lot to think about for my event this coming weekend. So thank you, Hale, for asking me to play this. This was a delight, and it wasn't nearly as, potentially corny as I expected. Like, it really did perform as a legacy deck. I didn't feel like I was hampered by Stoneforge Mystic and wished I was just playing Shark Typhoon the whole time. Like, that didn't happen. And this is a really good shell, really powerful Magic is getting played here. So thank you again, Hale, for asking me to play this. If you're watching this and want me to play your deck, check out the Patreon link in the video description below. And thank you for watching. Either way, remember to like and subscribe, hit the comment section with your thoughts on the deck or how I played it, and I'll see you next time.